Chapter 51. Konoha Village. On the streets near Ganligan, Li Chuan was chatting with Jing Ian and a few others about the content of the midterm exam. A sudden loud noise attracted his attention. Isn't that the Hokage building? What happened? Ah. Uchiha Obito, who was courting Nohara Rin, suddenly looked over. Several other little girls also shifted their gazes. For a moment, everyone's eyes were filled with curiosity. Hyagasya, who was dragged by Li Chuan to play together, instinctively wanted to use the Byakugan, but after thinking of the warning from the tribe, she immediately gave up the idea. The Hyaga clan is not allowed to use the power of the Byakugan in Konoha village. Once discovered, not only will the clan be severely punished, but the entire village will also be held accountable. Although Hyagasya didn't quite understand why. But on the side, Li Chuan doesn't care about this kind of thing. Using the power of Daluo Dongguan, he looked directly over there. The last time he used the Daluo cave observation, he knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen had not noticed his observation. From then on, Li Chuan had a new understanding of Daluo cave. This ability driven by different energies is something that ordinary ninjas simply cannot discover. However, due to the low proficiency, this ability consumes a lot of chi. It's only a distance of over 600 meters. Under X-ray observation, the total amount of chi in his body from 30 years of cultivation and 6 cups of water began to be consumed visibly. Hey? There are so many talisman papers in these houses around here. Feeling a little surprised, Li Chuan immediately thought of someone. Gen-O of Kajiro village. Kajiro village was a village that fought against Konoha village during the Second Ninja War. At first, they could still fight with Konoha, but later they couldn't beat them anymore. Later, they were suddenly attacked and destroyed by Takigakuer. Originally, Xianwang was planning to use an explosive talisman to blow up Konoha. But I never did anything afterwards. Apparently, in the 4 years since the Second Ninja War, Xianwang has already buried the detonating tags. Shaking his head, Li Chuan looked intently at the Hokage building. It is still more than 20 years before the detonating talisman is discovered. Don't worry about this for now. However, in the future, perhaps Hyaganatsu or Hinata can make a great contribution in this regard. As for now, the moment he saw Tsunade, he had roughly guessed what was going on. It was Tsunade who did it. Li Chuan didn't expect this. Why did Tsunade dare to take action in the Hokage building? Could it be that the cause of Rogue Tree's death has been discovered? It's very likely. But now that he has discovered Tsunade's location, he has to take action. First ask about the location of Tsunade's house and where she will appear. This saves you from always being unable to find anyone. But after seeing the silence, Li Chuan was suddenly stunned. Some of them are just stupid. Shizun should know where Tsunade lives. It is even possible that Shizun lives in Tsunade's house. At this moment, Li Chuan once again felt contempt for Sarutobi Hiruzen. How did Tsunade take care of Shizun? Just look at what Shizun eats every day. After Kato Dan died, Shizun never lacked money. Sometimes, I would even invite him to dinner. But what kind of life does Naruto live? Although it was because the Nine Tails in Naruto's body went berserk when he was 2 years old that all the villagers knew Naruto's identity as Nine Tails Jinchuriki. But Li Chuan didn't believe it. A village couldn't protect the son of the 4th Hokage? For safety reasons, the identity of the hero's son is concealed. Hehe Shizun, do you have anything else to do right now? Can you take me to see Lady Tsunade? Okay. Jing Ian responded with a nod and lowered her head shyly. Li Quan's smile is so beautiful. Oh, he looked over here again. What should I do? Just when Jing Ian was a little confused, Li Chuan had already grabbed Jing Ian's hand. Then, Yahai Kurane and Nohara Lin became unhappy. There was deep envy in her red eyes. She also wanted Li Chuan to hold her hand. Then the carefree Yahai Kurane took action. I'm going to. On the side, Lin's gaze was somewhat moved. But in the end, he still smiled implicitly. Mr. Li Chuan, since you have something to do, go early and come back early. Good. Li Chuan nodded, and then looked at Yahai Kurane who had naturally held his hand. This little girl is becoming more and more courageous. But this time he had serious business to attend to, and he wouldn't be able to take Yahai Kurane's feelings into consideration. It would be better to let Hong play with others. As for Obito trying to steal his girl, Li Chuan is not worried at all. How loyal are the girls in the Hokage world? Haven't you seen that Hinata pursued Naruto for her whole life just because of a help she gave him once? Sakura also fell in love at first sight and pursued Sasuke for her whole life. Now Lin's eyes are all on him. Obito can only have unrequited love after all. Hong, I have something to talk to Tsunade-san about, you can go play with Lin and the others first. Patting Yahai Kurane's little hand, Li Chuan glanced at Asuma Sarutobi who was walking towards them not far away. Tisk tisk, Lao Ma came at a really bad time. Giving Asuma a warning glare, Li Chuan and Shizun left. On the street corner, Asuma's body trembled suddenly. That annoying look again. Snort. Li Chuan, just wait for me. When my physical skills improve, I will definitely give you a good beating in front of Hong. Thinking of this, Asuma completely lost the desire to look for Hong. The fatigue from just practicing physical skills seemed to be swept away in an instant. Then Asuma Sarutobi turned around and rushed back to his family. He wants to continue practicing physical skills. In secret, Sarutobi Shinishook, who followed Asuma, couldn't help but shook his head. My younger brother has just made some progress in physical skills. He was afraid of this kid, so he went to find that little guy named Li Quan to bully him. Although there is no fight now. But Shinishook also understood that Asuma could never be Li Quan's opponent. But it's a good thing, that little guy Li Quan actually inspired Asuma's fighting spirit. If he continues like this, Asuma should be able to become a qualified ninja soon. Only. My stupid Doudou, no matter how hard you try, you can't catch up with Li Quan, so why bother? At the same time, Tsunade, who had just left the office, saw a familiar figure. Jiraiya? What's wrong with you? Frowning, Tsunade was suddenly confused. Among the Konoha Sunin, Jiraiya's strength was at the bottom when the team was first formed. But later this guy got lucky and came into contact with Mount Maya. Boku. Then he became the strongest among the three. But now, why is it so miserable? Not to mention the bruised face and nose, why is he limping when he walks? I was beaten by that guy Sakumo, what else can I do? After complaining, Jiraiya's eyes suddenly turned lustfully to Tsunade's chest. You never change your bad habits. Tsunade, who was very angry, punched Jiraiya on the head. Bang. In an instant, Jiraiya held his head and wailed in pain. You, old woman, I wonder who will dare to want you in the future. Looking at Tsunade with frustration, Jiraiya pouted. Familiar formula, familiar pain. But Jiraiya really didn't understand why Tsunade was so angry. Thank you, go away. Tsunade snorted coldly and had no intention of continuing the conversation with Jiraiya. Kato-dan is already dead, but Jiraiya is still bringing up things that are irrelevant. How could she be happy? Why does this guy always make her angry every time he meets her? I feel more comfortable when I am with Li Quan. I haven't seen this little guy for a few days, and I don't know what he is doing. Tsunade, the commotion in the Hokage's office earlier was caused by you, right? Just as Tsunade took a step, Jiraiya's serious voice came from behind Tsunade. Chapter 52. In the corridor. Tsunade, who was about to leave, suddenly stopped. What do you want to say? Looking back at her teammate, Tsunade narrowed her eyes. What does Jiraiya want to do? You should know the current situation of the village. It has only been 4 years since the village stabilized. Don't cause trouble, otherwise, I don't mind taking action against you. Touching the big bump on his head, Jiraiya said very seriously. But after hearing this, Tsunade suddenly laughed. This village-loving idiot. She must have gone crazy practicing outside the village. She just returned to the village and didn't know anything, so I came to persuade her. Go away, I'm in a bad mood now, don't bother me. Some things are not as simple as you think. After saying that, Tsunade continued to move forward. She really hated Jiraiya. The biggest reason is that this guy always wants to peek at me. But the relationship between the two is very good. It just involves Shenshu, Duan, and Li Quan. She really didn't want to talk too much nonsense with Jiraiya. Having never experienced family struggles or the death of loved ones, it was difficult for Jiraiya to understand how she felt now. As a princess of the Senjo clan, Tsunade does not look down on the common people. As for her friend Jiraiya, she just didn't want him to be involved. That's all. Seeing Tsunade leaving, there was even more doubt in Jiraiya's eyes. It's so weird. Why is Tsunade acting so abnormal today? It seems that she is not the generous Tsunade he knows. At this moment, he felt a different kind of heaviness and oppression from Tsunade. War has changed too much after all. Not only did it make Orochimaru mysterious, it also caused Tsunade to undergo a drastic change. Even Hotaki Sakumo had defected from the village because of the war. Is peace really so difficult? Come to think of it, if I hadn't mastered Sage Mode yet, I wouldn't necessarily lose to that guy Sakumo. If Sakumo's ability were to be assessed and rated, it would probably be at the level of a Kage. Alas, now the surrounding villages are increasingly spying on Konoha. If the situation hadn't been tense, Konoha's younger generation wouldn't have grown up. He is training outside and will not return to Konoha now. It is also unknown whether Nagato, who possesses the Rinnegan, is the child of destiny predicted by the Toad Sage. I think so. That child, however, has the same eyes as the legendary Sage of Six Paths. I heard that those 3 kids recently established an organization called Xiao. Does it represent the dawn of hope? Really good. After things in the village are over, I will go out of the village again. In the afternoon. Waited for a long time at Tsunade's house. Li Quan finally saw Tsunade, who looked tired. Jingyan felt a little sleepy and took a nap on the sofa. Seeing Li Quan, Tsunade showed a rare smile on her face. Then she stretched out her hands and rubbed Li Quan's face. What brings you to my house, you pervert? Come if you want, what else can you do? Although Li Quan said this time, he did not disturb Tsunade's fun. He could naturally see the fatigue on Tsunade's face. Considering the big thing Tsunade did in the morning, he also knew how uncomfortable Tsunade was. It's totally inappropriate to talk about things at this time. Hey, you can be honest sometimes? Sometimes, I really feel like you are not like a child. Tsunade was a little surprised to find that Li Quan was not particularly resistant this time. So what do you want from me? Like this. Li Quan curled his lips, then hugged Tsunade and buried his face in hers. Instantly, Tsunade felt offended. But thinking of her younger brother Shenshu, she just smiled gently and touched Li Quan's head. Only a little guy like Li Quan would dare to do such an amazing thing. If it were Shang Shu, would he dare to do this to her? But this scene made Li Quan confused. Tsunade is abnormal. Under normal circumstances, Tsunade would have grabbed her ears and started arguing with him. It seems that what happened recently has had a great impact on Tsunade. Silently loosening his arms, Li Quan looked at Tsunade strangely. Is your brain burnt out? That shouldn't be the case, right? Screw you. Tsunade tapped Li Quan's forehead and shook her head speechlessly. You little pervert, do you know that I had a falling out with my teacher today because of you? As she spoke, a look of pride appeared on her face, as if she was looking forward to Li Quan's reaction. But Li Quan was stunned. Was the commotion in the morning caused by Tsunade? What position do I hold in Tsunade's heart? A guilt-ridden replacement to make up for the death of Rope Tree? Or is he like a younger brother? At this moment, Li Quan suddenly became confused. His original intention in contacting Tsunade was to prevent her from leaking some of his information. Afterwards, it was also to make use of Tsunade's resources to make more money and become more powerful using the system. But the current situation is somewhat beyond his expectations. Thanks. Thousands of words finally turned into just 2 words. It would be a lie to say I wasn't moved. But Li Quan began to look forward to the future. Tsunade is doing this now, perhaps more out of guilt towards Nweki. But in the future, he will definitely let Tsunade understand that he, Li Quan, is a unique existence and cannot be a substitute for anyone. But now, he didn't say any more words that would spoil the mood. Hearing Li Quan's thanks, Tsunade suddenly laughed. Rubbing Li Quan's head, she told him everything that happened today. Li Quan listened with great interest, but when he heard Danzo adding fuel to the fire, a hint of coldness flashed in his eyes. It seems that Danzo really wants Tsunade to get into trouble. The incident with Uchiha was probably most likely done by Danzo. With my current strength, can I defeat Danzo? Wait for Orochimaru to come back and ask this guy. If Danzo already had the resurrection coin now, it would be difficult for him to deal with it. After listening to Tsunade's story, Li Quan rarely criticized Tsunade, but instead praised her. Even the Hokage doesn't dare to attack my sister. My sister is so powerful. My sister is so great. Haha, that's natural. Tsunade looked a little embarrassed, but still laughed. She naturally knew what her teacher was afraid of. The heritage of the Senjo clan. If the Senjo clan didn't have her back, Sarutobi Hiruzen would never have spoken to her like that after today's incident. Don't you see who I am? I am one of the legendary Sunin, Princess Katsuya Tsunade-sama. As she spoke, Tsunade became a little too proud of herself. Yes, yes, my dear Lady Tsunade. On the side, Li Quan picked up the heel at the right time. But then, he changed the subject and said helplessly, since Lady Tsunade is so powerful, I won't bother Lady Tsunade with the matters of the ninja hospital. After all, where would a big shot like you find the time, right? Well, I'd better figure it out myself. Originally, Tsunade, who was flattered by Li Quan to the point of being at a loss, was feeling very proud of herself. But after hearing what Li Quan said next, his face suddenly darkened. This pervert is actually waiting for her here. Without this pervert, how could she hide her hemophobia? At this moment, Tsunade was suddenly certain that Li Quan must know that she suffered from hemophobia. Where did this pervert get this information? I want to let myself bow my head and dream. She is Tsunade, one of the Konoha Sunin. The next moment, Tsunade suddenly smiled awkwardly and said, Good brother, it's no trouble, not at all. Chapter 53. At Tsunade's home. Tsunade reacted and suddenly understood. I got fooled again. This pervert doesn't have that idea at all. Just trying to change the subject. But I was so straightforward that I begged this lecherous kid. What a shame. I glanced at Jing Ian who was still taking a nap on the sofa. Tsunade breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this little girl didn't see my embarrassing side. Seeing Tsunade's change, Li Quan almost couldn't hold back. Just as Tsunade thought, his original intention was just to change the subject. But he really didn't expect that Tsunade would be like this. It's a face-changing package, right? It's really interesting. When facing Sarutobi Hiruzen during the day, Tsunade seemed very tough. Why is Tsunade so weak when facing herself? Is this what it feels like to be cautious when facing someone you care about? The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Finally, Tsunade coughed lightly a few times, thus ending the somewhat awkward situation. A few minutes later, there was a hint of doubt in Li Quan's eyes. Specially hired assistant. Reciting these 4 words silently, Li Quan nodded. That's a good idea. With the title of special assistant, he can go to Tsunade anytime and anywhere. Afterwards, he had a reason to explain Red Hand's ability. By learning Tsunade's Sage Jutsu, he created his own medical ninjutsu. In this way, he can use the ability of Red Hand openly in the outside world. This was also one of his plans. At ninja school, learn medical ninjutsu. But now, different paths lead to the same destination. Moreover, with Tsunade behind her, the Senjo clan provides protection. He doesn't have to worry about some people's little tricks behind his back. After deeper cooperation, the road to his business empire can be gradually unfolded. These are all benefits. But didn't Tsunade forget one thing? Superwoman, you can't let me work for nothing, right? I don't want to be a horse anymore. A horse? What is that? Looking at Li Chuan in confusion, Tsunade frantically recalled her past experiences in her mind. But no matter how hard she thought, she couldn't figure out the meaning of this word. Looking at Tsunade, who was deliberately ignoring his question, Li Quan's eyes twitched. Is Tsunade really ready to be a horse? It is impossible to work, not in this life. I have experienced the joy of easily earning 1 million taels. You want him to work for nothing? Isn't this a joke? Boom boom boom. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door, interrupting their conversation. Li Chuan subconsciously used Daluo to look at the past. Uchiha cool? What does this guy want from Tsunade? Tsunade doesn't particularly care about the hatred between Uchiha and Senju. But that attitude was something Tsunade developed after she left the village and traveled outside, mingling with the common people. Tsunade now, no matter what, doesn't have much affection for Uchiha, right? Is it to thank you for saving my life? Yes, who is it? Jingyan was sleeping in a daze and didn't even open her eyes. I instinctively turned over and left the sofa and walked to the gate of opening. Seeing this scene, Li Chuan smiled helplessly and followed Jingyan. After all, this is the Uchiha family, where all the members are a little crazy. He was afraid that something might happen to Jingyan. How can I describe the Uchiha family? Not everyone has a serious illness, but few people are normal. Uchiha Madara wants to launch infinite Tsukuyomi to destroy the world in order to achieve his goal. In the later period of Uchiha Obito, in order to create an ideal world, he also wanted to bring infinite Tsukuyomi to the ninja world. Uchiha Shisui, Uchiha Itachi, and Uchiha Fugaku are not normal people either. One wanted to forcefully change the clan leader's mind, while the other killed all the clan members just to protect his younger brother. There was another one who used the lives of all his tribesmen to protect his 2 sons. Only Sasuke is considered a normal person among the Uchiha tribe. However, the fuse of everything was the second Hokage Senju Tobirama. If it weren't for Tobirama asking the Uchiha clan to establish the police department of Konoha village, the outcome for the Uchiha clan might be completely different. The door was slowly opened. At the door, looking at the 3 people coming in one after another, Uchiha Ryo was quite surprised. As a man, he naturally cares about Tsunade. That is why he told his wife Uchiha Xia many things about Tsunade. He could understand why Kato Shizuan appeared in Tsunade's house. But he didn't understand at all when the little boy who appeared in the ninja hospital with Tsunade that day was here. By the way, what's the name of this kid? I think his name is Li Chuan. This surname is not common in this village. Is that you? What do you want from me? Protecting the 2 children behind her, Tsunade instinctively became alert. Sharingan with 3 Megatama. The current Uchiha Ryo is an extremely dangerous guy, and he is from the Uchiha clan. Then she would have to be on guard. That Tsunade-sama, I came here this time to thank you for saving my wife. At the door, Uchiha Ryo felt a little embarrassed. According to what he and Xiao Yang had imagined, Tsunade shouldn't be so hostile towards the members of Uchiha. Why is it like this now? It seems he overlooked a detail. That day, it seemed that it was the little boy behind Tsunade who spoke that made Tsunade make up her mind. Miscalculated. But since you're here, you have to give away gifts. The 1.5 million in his hand was not only a token of gratitude from him and Xiao Yang. More importantly, it was the beginning of friendly relations between the Uchiha and Senju clans. After all, there are almost no families in the village that are on good terms with Uchiha. The conflicts between the family members and the villagers are also increasing day by day. If it hadn't changed earlier, sooner or later, something bad will happen between Uchiha and the village. Oh? You don't want to thank me for saving your child? Inside the door, Tsunade raised her eyebrows. These days, she also had brief contacts with the couple several times. After all, it was Li Chuan who cured them both. Since the information has to be concealed, she also needs to understand the specific effects of the treatment. But is there any serious illness for this couple? Why does it feel like the child was an accident? 4 days. The number of times the child named Shisui was mentioned could be counted on one hand. No, Lady Tsunade was able to save Shisui. Xiao Yang and I are naturally very grateful. Uchiha Ryo quickly waved his hands and denied it. But the suitcase in his hand really attracted attention. Tsunade sniffed instinctively. Familiar taste. Having been in casinos for many years, Tsunade is very familiar with money. She could smell the scent of this special paper with her nose. Lady Tsunade, this is a small gift from Xiao Yang and I. There is a total of 1.5 million taels in it. I hope Lady Tsunade doesn't mind. Seeing the 3 people's gazes, they all looked at the safe in his hands. Uchiha Ryo hurriedly explained. Tsunade, however, narrowed her eyes. The price of childbirth surgery is not expensive. It wouldn't cost that much money to save Uchiha Xia. This is too much money. Although Uchiha Xia life is related to the peace of the 2 families. But surgery alone is not worth it. It means the Uchiha clan. As the clan leader, Tsunade, who already had some political sensitivity, immediately understood the meaning of the money. Accepting this money might be a big trouble. But then, a smile appeared on Tsunade's face. All the major clans are in the ninja hospital, sucking the blood of her Senju clan, so what's wrong with her taking some Uchiha money? It just so happens that the salary that was prepared for this little fellow Li Chuan has not yet been settled. Chapter 54. I'll take the money. After taking the safe from Uchiha Ryo, Tsunade did not invite Uchiha Ryo into her home. We still need to take precautions. After all, there are several eyes in the dark, watching from a distance. If she really dared to do this, her teacher and Shimura Danzo would probably come to her the next day. As for the rest, don't say anything. I know exactly what Uchiha Fugaku means. However, my Senjo clan is not interested at the moment. This. Uchiha Ryo's expression froze. The rejection was too straightforward. And he also pointed out directly and thanked the things behind it. This is very troublesome. Then what will he do to explain to Uchiha Fugaku? Money was spent and nothing was done? Mr. Liang, tell the Uchiha clan leader exactly what you said. He will understand what you mean. Behind Tsunade, Li Chuan protected Shizuan, who had already woken up, behind him. Tsunade didn't say anything final. Just because you are not interested at the moment doesn't mean you won't be interested in the future. I just don't know if the Uchiha clan can wait until that day. As Uchiha Ryo left, the door of Tsunade's house was closed. Li Chuan also observed something at this moment. There is a kind of energy in the room that isolates it from outside detection. Who are you guarding against? Sarutobi Hiruzen's peeping? But these have nothing to do with him. Supergirl, aren't you afraid of being targeted by some people? So what if they are targeting you? Even rabbits will bite when pushed into a corner, let alone our Senjo clan. The Senjo clan is in a very awkward situation right now. Not only are they short of people, but other clans are also eating away at the Senjo clan's resources. Shaking his head helplessly, Tsunade smiled bitterly and said, "Why would I want to talk to you, a pervert? You don't understand anyway." Li Chuan didn't know how to respond to this. He really only knows a little bit. Plus, he was not very familiar with this kind of family struggle. The suggestions put forward are unlikely to have any effect. So now, he will naturally consider what to say and what not to say. Let's not talk about this anymore. On the side, Tsunade placed the safe on the table. Then he sat down easily. You little pervert, didn't you say you didn't want to work for nothing? How about I give you 1 million out of this 1,500,000? I have a use for the remaining 500,000 taels. Rubbing her hands, Tsunade's eyes showed some excitement. As if he thought of something, Li Chuan raised his eyebrows. Superwoman, you're not going to go to the casino with 500,000 taels, are you? If that's the case, you might as well give me the 500,000 taels. Staring at Tsunade, Li Quan's eyes were filled with scrutiny. It's not that he is greedy for money. Tsunade's luck is really bad. Every time this woman goes to the casino, she loses all her gambling money. 500,000 taels, it would take less than half an hour to pay off. It would be better to let him use the money to participate in the lottery. At the very least, he can get actual benefits when drawing the lottery. But if Tsunade goes to gamble, she will probably be in debt again. And this woman seems to already owe money to all the major casinos, right? If you take out any of this money, it's estimated that not a single drop will come out of it. Ah ha ha ha, how is that possible? I am really useful. Tsunade turned her head away guiltily, looking speechless. How come this pervert is so sharp? I guessed her thoughts so quickly. Sister Tsunade, Uncle Duan said that you are not allowed to gamble. Beside Li Chuan, Jing Ian's weak voice came out. It even made Tsunade's body tremble. Don't gamble? But I really can't control myself. Only when she gambles can she forget her sadness for a short time. Only when she was gambling would she ignore the death of her loved ones. On the side, Li Chuan tapped Jing Ian's head. Is Kato broken? He didn't really want to hear this man's name. Jing Ian was a little confused. What was Li Chuan doing? Then let's not gamble today. Putting the safe on the table, Tsunade stood up and walked towards the kitchen. Li Chuan, who had sharp eyes, immediately saw several things. Liquor. He didn't know what to say about this. It's either gambling or drinking. Doesn't Tsunade have any other ways to relieve stress? Is the little girl Jing Ian still at home? Can you take it easy? Shizuan, it's time for a nap. Ah. Oh. As if she was used to it, Jing Ian obediently went upstairs and returned to her room. Seeing this scene, Li Chuan frowned. It seems that Tsunade has done this kind of thing many times. No wonder Shizuan is so strong when she grows up. It turns out that I have been used to being independent since childhood. With a bang. The bottle of wine was opened. Tsunade picked up the bottle and prepared to take a sip. However, in the blink of an eye, the bottle of wine was snatched away by Li Chuan. Give it back to me, you pervert. With a serious look on her face, Tsunade narrowed her eyes. No matter how good the relationship is, there must be a limit. Don't lose points in my heart. Rolling up her sleeves, her breath suddenly changed. I've never had the chance to test the depth of this pervert, but maybe I'll find out today. Stupid woman, you want to gamble, right? Then take me with you. Don't drink. It's not good for your health. Upon hearing this, Tsunade instantly became angry. Li Chuan actually wanted me to take him to the casino. How dare this pervert? If Shang Shu dared to say that to me, I would definitely hang him up and beat him. If it weren't for her grandfather Hashirama, she would never have developed the gambling habit. How could she not know what gambling is like? Once this habit is formed, it is not easy to change. You know, in order to prevent Jing Ian from seeing her drinking, she specifically asked her tribesmen to renovate Jing Ian's house. I also developed the habit of keeping quiet and going back to my room. Just don't let Jing Ian learn from her. But now, I wanted to teach Li Chuan a lesson. However, Tsunade suddenly realized that she might not be able to catch this perverted brat. You little pervert, you'd better explain it to me, or this matter won't end today. Superwoman, you should know about cheating, right? Facing Tsunade's gaze, Li Quan smiled mysteriously. He had never been to a casino before. I don't know the different ways of gambling. Plus, he was still a child, so the casino wouldn't let him in. So he never thought about this aspect. But now, with the Daluo cave observation, this matter can be accomplished with great potential. He doesn't understand tricks. Yes, you can see through your opponent's cards and the size of the dice. It's the most powerful gambling technique. At that time, just play these most common ways of playing. He can bankrupt the casino. Hehe, if I can bring the money out then. Bang. However, what greeted Li Quan was Tsunade's fist. This time, Tsunade was really angry. At such a young age, why did he learn something else but cheat? There are so many experts in the casino, but not many of them can come out with a smile. Where does this pervert get the confidence to say such big words? You pervert, don't think about it anymore. When you grow up, you can do whatever you want. But now, if I see you going to the casino, I'll break your legs. Tisk, what a bummer. Tisk, today's the color is purple. Li Quan pouted and rubbed his head nonchalantly. After putting the bottle on the table, he stood up and prepared to leave. There's nothing much to talk about anymore. Shizun is a child, but he is not. With an adult mindset, he can control many things. For example, gambling. But going to the casino is an opportunity for him to make a lot of money quickly. But there are only a few chances. Since Tsunade is unwilling to take him, this time he really can only figure it out on his own. Wait. How did you know that? Suddenly, Li Quan felt his feet were empty. He was actually picked up by Tsunade. Chapter 55. At Tsunade's house, Li Quan's mouth curled up after he found himself being mentioned. Oh my, the fish is hooked. Li Quan can still control his mouth. There are some things he won't say casually. As a gambler, no matter how slow Tsunade is, she can understand the role of perspective in a casino. Just tell the truth. If he wasn't short of money, he wouldn't have used the Daluo cave to do such a cheap thing. He is very short of money now. Without investing hundreds of millions into the system, it would be difficult for him to understand the rules of the system. And it took a total of 1 million consumption to get a lucky critical hit. Does anyone know how much the next lucky strike will cost? 10 million? I guess the 1 million given by Tsunade won't get you anything. It would be better to use your abilities to make some money in the casino. However, if you keep winning, you will definitely be discovered to be abnormal. By then, it is estimated that no casino will allow him to continue gambling. This is also the reason why he feels that he can only do this a few times. And the person who wins the money, in the eyes of outsiders, must be Tsunade. Otherwise he might get into trouble. Tsunade can suddenly change her luck and make a fortune in the casino. Because Tsunade has the Senju clan behind her, supporting her. But Li Quan can't do that. He doesn't have much background now and his parents are still away. If he gets into trouble, he will be fine, but his parents will be in great danger. But now, Li Quan is thinking about how to trick Tsunade. Why, you still haven't said anything. With a serious look on her face, Tsunade stared into Li Quan's eyes, and veins seemed to bulge on her forehead. Tsunade really didn't expect that Li Quan would know the color of her underwear. She was dressed very warmly today and there was no way she could be discovered. Unless, Li Quan spied on her changing clothes. But, how is this possible? It was past 6 in the morning and she was in the ninja hospital. Carefully recalling the details of today, Tsunade's eyes became more confused. Hey, Supergirl, can you put me down first? I'm really embarrassed if you do this, okay? Haha, peeping makes sense now, right? Sneering, Tsunade pinched Li Quan's nose. I wasn't peeping, I was watching openly. Li Quan raised his head proudly and said confidently. You should be aware of the power of the Byakugan. I used my awakened power to transform my eyes. As long as I want, hehe. As he spoke, Li Quan looked down at Tsunade's chest. Since Tsunade has been calling him a pervert, then he should live up to his name as a pervert. Be true to the end. As a pervert, it's reasonable for me to want to peek, right? For this purpose, he used his red hands to transform the eyes, and by accident the eyes gained the ability of perspective. That's totally reasonable. Anyway, Tsunade is not Orochimaru, she won't capture him and dissect him for such a thing. At most I would beat myself up and warn myself not to continue watching. Then always be on guard against this ability of yours. As expected, a scream was heard. Tsunade blushed and protected her vital parts. Suddenly thrown away. Li Quan, on the other hand, didn't react and sat down on the ground. But what surprised Li Quan was Tsunade only protected it for a moment before she puffed out her chest proudly. How is it, sister, is she pretty? Li Quan was shy. He turned his head away, not knowing what to say. It was obvious that Tsunade didn't consider him a man at all. What can he do? Li Quan looked at his body and had no idea what to do. I'm too young to stand tall. Tisk, I can't cure you anymore. Tsunade pursed her lips. To say you're not ashamed is complete nonsense. But Tsunade really didn't want to lose the initiative in front of Li Quan. She was the one showing weakness every time, and she was really unwilling to accept that. And when she thought that Li Chuan was still a child and couldn't do anything, she suddenly had this moment. Apparently, the effect is surprisingly good. Ahem, tell me the truth, with your ability, have you ever tried to cheat? Will you be discovered? But then she changed the subject. There were some topics that Tsunade simply didn't want to discuss with this lecherous brat. As for the matter of this pervert looking at her, she would definitely teach him a lesson when this matter was over. It would be fine if he just peeped at me, but he even told me so openly. Do you really think that she has no temper? If I could think of a way to make this little pervert suffer. She took action now. Hitting doesn't hurt, and bickering won't break this lecherous kid's defense. Tsunade really couldn't think of any good way to make Li Chuan lose face. This one needs another try. Tsunade's sudden questions made Li Chuan frown. Just because Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't notice it doesn't mean that others won't notice it either. And then there's Tsunade's attitude. What evil is this holding back? He didn't believe that Tsunade would let him go so easily. Jiraiya had 6 ribs broken when he was peeping. But he is actually fine now. This in itself is very abnormal. Let's discuss the details. When the time comes, we can just bet on the size of the bet. Night. Inside the largest casino in Konoha village. Shimura Danzo stood on the upper floor, inspecting everything and nodded with satisfaction. As the leader of the route, he was the one who single-handedly managed the establishment of the route. He is also responsible for all expenses. Most of the funds came from the several casinos he founded. This largest casino basically accounts for 60% of all his assets. The turnover of this amount is several million every day. When things go well, it may reach tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions. Of course, those times were because Tsunade was there. Speaking of which, Tsunade owes more than 80 million in gambling debts in this casino, right? When will I send someone to collect the debt from the Senjo clan? Just when Shimura Danzo was looking at the gamblers, ready to turn the tables at all costs, he saw a familiar figure. Tsunade. Tisk tisk, it seems that today, my casino is going to make a lot of money. In the casino. When many gamblers saw Tsunade, their eyes suddenly lit up. It's not just because of Tsunade's beautiful figure, but more importantly, her identity as a fat sheep. Every time Tsunade appears, they can always make a lot of money as long as they make the opposite choice to Tsunade. These days, some people even use Tsunade to make back their gambling money in the casino. The legendary big fat sheep, well deserved. Lady Tsunade, this time, we are all relying on you to make back our investment. Hehe, Lady Tsunade, whether we can have a feast today depends on you. Here, Lady Tsunade, come and play cards. Play this, play this. As she called out, Tsunade's expression looked somewhat unnatural. You can tell how bad her gambling luck is from what these people say. The only time she won a bet was when she bet that Li Chuan could save Uchiha Xiao Yang. Now stepping into the casino again, Tsunade suddenly felt guilty. 1,500,000 taels. The money that I usually look down upon is now all used for gambling. What to do if you lose everything? And I have to gamble with that pervert Li Chuan. She always had a sense of unreality. At this moment, Tsunade suddenly felt a little regretful. Why should I go crazy with this pervert? Why is it that after meeting Li Chuan, I have become less and less like myself? Right at this moment, a woman came in front of Tsunade. Tsunade-sama, what are you going to play this time? Ah? Just play dice. Suddenly stunned, Tsunade looked at a table not far away. You little pervert, please don't let me down. Chapter 56. Inside the casino. The female waitress was a little surprised when she heard Tsunade's words. Tsunade actually has moments of insecurity? Then please. As she spoke, she led the way ahead. Every time Tsunade comes, these waiters can get a considerable share of the profits. Especially when Tsunade got too carried away with gambling and was losing everything. No matter who you offend, you must not offend the god of wealth, right? When Tsunade walked towards the gambling table, a group of gamblers immediately swarmed over. At times like this, you're just picking up money. They are small guys, and they don't gamble much. Even if you win, you won't win much. By then, the casino will not make things difficult for them at all. On the contrary, Tsunade would lose at least 1 million every time, and these were the bulk of the casino's profits. Which gambler wouldn't be happy to win money? Tsunade sat down at the gambling table. The female dealer with a bandage on her head and a smile on her face immediately looked over. Lady Tsunade, are you sure you want to play this today? There are many ways to bet on the size of the bet. But Tsunade chose the simplest one today. Big, small, leopard, all are killed. In the past, Tsunade would never come to such a place for fun. This fat sheep who has a strong addiction to food usually prefers high-end places. Poker tables, blackjack, and stuff. There, it was also the moment when Tsunade lost the fastest. This situation is a bit abnormal now. Don't talk nonsense. Today, I must win back the money I lost. After a brief calm, Tsunade has now calmed down. And she fully displayed the aura of a gambler, without any sign of stage fright. This is a place she is extremely familiar with. However, even though she was going to cheat with that pervert Li Chuan, she always felt very weird. She also knows some tricks in the casino. The casino itself is cheating. It's just that it's too clever for outsiders to see. That pervert is out there. Did the experiment succeed? 10 minutes later. Li Chuan, who was outside the casino, estimated the time. Then he saw a man in white on the street. Pure white pupils. A member of the Hokage clan? Before he could react, this Hokage clan member activated the ability of his Byakugan. Then, a group of big men immediately came out of the casino. Then this group of big men chased after the member of the Hokage clan and started fighting. What the hell? Is there a way to detect voyeurism? However, he used the Daluo cave observation and was not discovered. At this moment, Quan was sure that no one would be able to detect his spying for the time being. I didn't pay any further attention to this sudden scene. He continued to look inside the casino, and then he was speechless. In just 10 minutes, $500,000 was lost. It really lives up to the name of a big fat sheep. Wait a little longer. Without losing 1 million, this gambling drama is not significant enough. 500,000 is enough to turn the tables. Now, even if Tsunade only has 50,000 left, he is confident that he can win it back. And now the odds on the side that Tsunade is betting on are only 3 times. Too low. It's simply not enough to earn. He would only go to Tsunade when the odds were at least 5 times. Then he temporarily returned Hashirama's necklace to Tsunade. Then he was forced to stay by Tsunade. At that time, he only needs to be in Tsunade's arms and touch Tsunade with his fingers. 1 finger is small, 2 fingers are big, and 3 are a leopard. After all, the more complicated the gambling method is, the more complicated the method of explanation is, and it requires practice in advance. At the same time, Tsunade has become a little too eager to gamble. But she felt extremely uncomfortable in her heart. 500,000, just gone like that. She was just planning to have a small gamble to satisfy her craving. She intended to use the remaining 1 million taels as salary for Quan. After all, for some difficult diseases, the reward can reach millions. 1 million taels is really not a lot. But if we continue now, we will be gambling with that pervert's money. Tsunade truly felt ashamed. No matter how carefree she felt uncomfortable using a 5-year-old's money to gamble. Tsunade-sama, are you still going to continue? The beautiful dealer smiled sweetly, looked at Tsunade who did not continue to place bets, and asked politely. I only lost 500,000. It's a bit unlike Tsunade's style. But now, she is not satisfied. After all, normally, it would never be her turn to have such good things happen. For a small gambling table like this, a daily turnover of 1 million or so is already the maximum. If Tsunade had continued to gamble, today's share might have allowed her to live without worries for decades. The dealer's words directly stimulated Tsunade. How can a gambler always lose? She had won once not long ago. Since she was able to win, her luck had turned. Bet, why not? I'm betting big this time. With a glance, she directly took out 100,000 yuan in chips. Pa with a sound, several cracks appeared on the chips. It's on top, it's on top. See the scene. The eyes of all the gamblers immediately glowed green. At times like this, Tsunade would often spend lavishly. This was also the time when Tsunade lost the most and they started to make huge profits. The beautiful dealer looked at everyone with contempt. This time she deliberately shook out a leopard. If you want to gamble, be prepared to lose. On top of the high floor, Shimura Danzo, who had been watching the scene, also showed excitement in his eyes. Touching his chin with an obvious scar, he smiled happily. It's about to begin. How much money will Tsunade borrow from his casino this time? 10 million, or 20 million? It would be best if we could raise 100 million. Then, he can bring people to collect the debt. Ha ha ha, thinking of this, Danzo suddenly laughed sinisterly. Oh my god, it's a leopard. As the beautiful dealer opened the color cup, the eyes of several gamblers were immediately filled with disbelief. FK. Laozi bet everything. Oh my god, it's Laozi's money. Amidst the wailing of the crowd, the beautiful dealer continued to smile and casually used the chip pusher to move the chips on the table in front of her. 3 sixes, leopard, the dealer kills all. Tsunade-sama, would you like to continue? Noticing that smiling gaze, Tsunade immediately felt provoked. She puffed out her chest in defiance and curled her lips. That feeling is pure contempt. Crushing in a physiological sense. Faced with this magnificent sight, the beautiful dealer's aura instantly weakened. The eyes of the men also looked over at this moment. At this moment, everyone suddenly felt that there was nothing wrong with losing money. With such a beautiful lady like Tsunade here, at least I didn't miss out on the feast for my eyes. Moreover, Tsunade is a generous woman who will not pay special attention to her image once she gets into the gambling mood. At that time, they will have more feast for the eyes. Continue. At the gambling table, Tsunade smiled smugly when she saw the dealer's expression. When it comes to body shape, she has never lost. It's just that the gazes from the men around me are really annoying. Clang 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 as the color cup was shaken again. The gambling began again. But this time, the beautiful dealer's eyes were filled with naked jealousy. Outside the casino, Quan's eyes twitched as he watched a group of men staring at Tsunade. This scene made him feel a little uncomfortable. But when he thought about sitting in Tsunade's arms later, he suddenly smiled. This treatment, the welfare bureau. He raised his head slightly and looked at the one-eyed man who was hiding behind the glass and peeping in the upper floor. Quan narrowed his eyes slightly. Bandages to protect the eyes, scars on the chin, and scarlet jade eyes. Tisk tisk, Danzo Shimura is here too. Chapter 57. Outside the casino. Through the Daluo cave, I looked at the situation inside the house. Quan frowned slightly. He couldn't even see through Danzo's right hand hidden under the black robe. There seemed to be a strange energy there that was blocking everything. Is it the Sharingan seal? It's not very clear how many eyes are sealed on Danzo's arm. I don't think there are many. After all, when fighting Sasuke, this guy only had 11 eyes on his arms. Speaking of which, Danzo's current combat capability should be pretty good. After all, he is not too old, has enough physical strength, and has a Sharingan. It's this fighting consciousness. How to say it? Kunajashi Susa, the 4-symbol seal and sealing bridge. 11 eyes, even though there is Sasuke Genjutsu, you can still count them wrong. It's okay if it's bad, but his brain is not working very well. Come to think of it, the roots have been keeping an eye on him for quite some time. Then Danzo should have recognized himself. At the same time, behind the high-rise glass of the casino, his sight suddenly moved. Sharingan felt a vague sense of being watched. Who is it? Isn't that the wall of the casino? An illusion. Shaking his head slightly, he looked at Tsunade. Tsunade is a little slow in losing money today. It's been almost 15 minutes and I've only lost 1.3 million. Go, inform them and make Tsunade lose faster. After calling out to his men, his gaze fell on Tsunade again. This woman really has a lustful body. If it weren't for the troublesome background behind this woman, ha. And outside the casino, Li Quan, who was hiding in the corner, wiped the cold sweat from his forehead in horror. Danzo actually discovered his spying. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't find out, so how did Danzo, the scapegoat, find out? Uchiha Mirror's eyes. Sharingan can actually discover the investigation of Daluo Dongguan. It is worthy of being one of the top types of eyes in the Hokage world. In this case, the Samsara Eye and the Byakugan will most likely be able to detect the ability of the Daluo Dongguan. Fortunately, there are several walls between us, otherwise it would be troublesome. However, Li Quan was not afraid at all. Now, the proficiency of Daluo Dongguan is only 5%. Once he improves his proficiency, there shouldn't be any problem. It's time to find Tsunade. If she doesn't go into the casino, Tsunade will probably collapse. There are only 30,000 left, it's true. Inside the casino. By now, Tsunade's hands were starting to tremble. At this moment, she regretted it. I usually don't notice that money is spent so quickly. 1,500,000 taels were almost lost by her in gambling. The most important thing was that it was the money of that pervert Li Quan. That pervert, why hasn't he come yet? Is it impossible to cheat? That's right, there are seals in the casino to prevent people from being looked down upon. The eyes of that pervert are probably not much different from rolling the eyes. It looks like we are doomed to lose today. But I can see that the odds I bet on have reached 1 to 10. Tsunade suddenly had the idea of a euro borrowing money from the casino. As long as you borrow 200,000, you can turn the tables. Even if that pervert doesn't come, I can still win the money back. Thinking about this, she was about to get up. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the entrance of the casino. Tsunade-sensei, are you here? Shizun asked me to bring this to you. It's finally here. Hearing the voice, Tsunade stood up immediately. Her eyes turned cold and she suddenly looked towards the casino door. Who is it? How dare you, my student, come to the casino? Hearing this, everyone was speechless. Tsunade has been working at the ninja school for more than a month, so everyone naturally knows the news. But since he was a child, he has been hanging out with the first-generation Hokage in various places and gambling with others. Is it against Tsunade's will to say this? Is this woman qualified to say such things? Is it because after becoming a teacher, my sense of responsibility has become heavier? But if that's the case, why did Tsunade come to the casino? A series of complaints rang out in everyone's mind. But everyone still made way. Tsunade, who is addicted to gambling, has never left the casino easily. And they also didn't believe that Tsunade would leave just for a child. Then, everyone saw a child standing at the entrance of the casino, holding a necklace and looking around. Shit, cursed necklace. That kid is dead. What a pity, such a delicate child. I heard that this necklace is worth 3 mines. Is that true? Tisk, would you dare to take it if it's given to you? Amid the whispers, Tsunade's expression suddenly became extremely ugly. Tsunade snatched the necklace and immediately grabbed Li Quan's ear. You little pervert, who told you to touch my things? You didn't really try hard? Li Quan was speechless for a moment because his ears hurt a little. It's just acting, Tsunade actually wants to take revenge. After Tsunade put the necklace around her neck, she glanced around vigilantly. Hey, stay with me first until it's safe. Having said that, she pulled Li Quan to the gambling table without further ado. Then he held Li Quan in his arms. For a moment, all the men were dumbfounded. Isn't it? Although from what Tsunade said, the two seemed to know each other. But how can this child stay in Tsunade's arms? Isn't this bullshit? Looking at Li Quan, who was under 2 huge pressures, all the men showed extremely envious expressions. Around, some people were breathing heavily, and some had fire in their eyes. Some people pulled at their clothes and started biting them. There were even a few people who stared at Li Quan fiercely, as if they wanted to eat him. The beautiful dealer also trembled all over at this moment. The cursed necklace deserves its name. If sight could kill, this child who came into contact with the necklace would have died hundreds of times, right? Jealousy can really change a person beyond recognition. Why do I feel like I lost so completely today? The dealer looked at his chest and then at Tsunade, and suddenly narrowed his eyes. If she doesn't make Tsunade lose all her clothes today, her career as a dealer for more than 10 years will be in vain. And behind the glass on the high floor, Shimura Denzo suddenly widened his single eye. It turned out to be this little kid that I had been paying attention to. There is a photo of this child in the base of the root. Because he paid special attention to him, he recognized Li Chuan the moment he appeared. What is the relationship between Tsunade and this child now? Not to mention the commotion in Hiruzen's office during the day because of the child. Now he is actually making such an intimate move to protect the child. Do you really think this kid is a Senju tree? If this is the case, it will be difficult to deal with it later. They are only 4 or 5 points similar. Why would Tsunade go to such lengths for Li Chuan? His mind was filled with confusion, and Denzo touched the scar on his chin. Can't wait. Let's tie up this kid and brainwash him first. If this continues and the child gets closer to Tsunade, things will become even more difficult. What a bunch of rubbish I sent out. Why haven't you come back yet? Denzo suddenly felt irritated and had a feeling that everything was going wrong. And at the gambling table, the beautiful dealer took off half of the sleeve on her right hand, revealing her smooth right arm and a large part of her white cloth bra. Holding the coloring cup in her right hand, she chuckled and asked, Tsunade-sama, do you want to continue today? In Tsunade's arms, Li Chuan looked at the dealer in front of him in confusion. Then he raised his head with difficulty, turned his gaze to look at Tsunade, and asked in his childish voice, confused, Tsunade-sensei, this little sister is so small. Ah, in an instant, the beautiful dealer screamed in disbelief. Chapter 58. Inside the casino. A scream directly pierced everyone's eardrums. Sometimes, breaking through defense only takes a moment. The dealer never imagined that Li Chuan had such a vicious tongue. Little sister, so little. How can a mouth with a body temperature of 36 degrees utter such cold words? She is obviously an adult, how can she be young? Indeed, compared to Lady Tsunade, it is indeed a little small. A voice floated out from somewhere. This godlike finishing move hit the dealer again. Can she compare to Tsunade? Who else but Tsunade can have such a perverted body? It's fake, it must be fake. It must have been transformed by Tsunade using medical ninjutsu and medical skills. Yes, that must be it. Smiling foolishly, the dealer suddenly shook the color cup. Clank, clank, the crisp sound of collision drew everyone's attention over there. Tsunade did not look over, but lowered her head to look at Li Chuan in her arms, smiling and rubbing Li Quan's little face. Little guy, don't talk about girls like that next time, or you'll get beaten. But she was delighted in her heart. Having suffered so much at the gambling table, she was naturally very happy now that she had won back a game. That's right. Li Quan's mouth is really poisonous. The dealer opposite is definitely at the level of a normal woman. And it seems that it may even exceed the normal level. But compared with myself, there is a big gap. If I wasn't here today, this deliberate action of exposing my arms and bra would definitely attract a lot of attention. This will attract a lot of gamblers. But what I said is all true. Li Chuan lowered his head timidly, looking around uncertainly. It seemed as if he wanted to dispel the doubts in his heart. Seeing this scene, Tsunade's mouth twitched a few times. My goodness, if she wasn't familiar with Li Chuan, she would have been deceived. Still doing bad things. But what's going on? I'm so happy. Is it because this girl won money from me? Alas, I seem to have become bad. But the conversation between the two made the dealer crazy again. Girls. Has Tsunade never considered herself an adult? And that kid's mouth. Isn't that the way children say things without restraint? At this moment, her hands holding the paint cup turned pale. At this moment, a voice sounded in her ears. My lord said, let Tsunade lose quickly. The Yamanaka clan's technique. Is this Denzo-sama's subordinate? Lord Denzo is here too. There was excitement in his eyes, and the dealer had completely forgotten the previous blow. For Denzo-sama. Her demeanor suddenly changed, and she began to shake the color cup very seriously. Li Chuan, who had been observing this scene with the Ledongguan, immediately discovered something unusual. Through observation at the Ledongguan, one can see a person's aura. It was because he saw the dealer's ill will towards Tsunade that he said that. Otherwise, he has no interest in using the topic of body shape to attack a woman. And just now, he actually saw a strange energy fluctuation. It is a combination of chakra and another energy. Then the aura of this beautiful dealer changed immediately. Got the news? Almost instantly, Li Chuan guessed what it was. The Yamanaka clan's secret technique of perception, the technique of transmitting the mind to the body. Able to establish telepathic communication through mental power. This ability is extremely practical. If I can imitate it, it will be much more convenient to contact people in the future. It's just that the fluctuation was too short and he couldn't remember it. It would be great if I could draw the power of the source of chi. The end of the art. At that time, he wouldn't have to learn ninjutsu at all, he could just develop it himself according to the principles. Boom. Suddenly, the color cup was slammed onto the gambling table by the dealer. Let's place our bets, everyone. As the dealer finished speaking, everyone's eyes fell on Tsunade. Jealousy, lust. But more of it is greed for money. Looking at the few chips in her hand, Tsunade felt a huge pressure. The last 30,000 taels would be gone if I lost. Suddenly, I felt a clear sensation in my thigh. It was a very thin finger, pressing gently. One finger, is it small? But I want to bet big. With a focused gaze, she placed the 10,000 chips in the small circle. Seeing this scene, all the gamblers immediately placed big bets. But the dealer's expression looked a little unnatural. This time, the casino is going to lose money. And Tsunade only bet 10,000. Is this a joke? With such a small bet, is this still Tsunade? Also, Tsunade actually bet right this time. This. Open it, why not? Hurry up, I'll bet for the last time. Hehe, if I win, I'll win the geisha tavern, but if I lose, I'll have to lie flat under the bridge. As the dealer was urged again and again, he felt a little overwhelmed. Are there any more people betting? Hurry up, it's about to start. Speaking in a formula. Her fingertips twitched slightly. Since Master Danzo has ordered that Tsunade lose quickly, then let Tsunade lose all the way. In Tsunade's arms. Hearing Tsunade's accelerated heartbeat, Li Quan naturally noticed the dealer's little movements. The dealer is cheating. But he saw it all, how could he allow such a thing to happen? With his palm on the gambling table, he pushed gently using the hard and soft power of Tai Chi. The invisible Chi, accompanied by great force, extended forward. Then, the corners of Li Quan's mouth curled up slightly. Fortunately, he had read a lot of novels, so he suddenly thought of this method of using Chi, otherwise he would have no idea what to do. There seems to be less development of Tai Chi. Although Tai Chi is a form of martial arts, it has many changes after adding Chi. If used properly, can you use the opponent's force to counter the opponent's force and throw the opponent's technique back? It seems that the demonic blade Thousand Blades was treated like this once. The possibility is very high. But Tsunade was extremely nervous at this moment. The arms holding Li Quan were also constantly exerting strength. Does this pervert have any bottom line? Isn't this just a random guess? If I cheat, will it be discovered? Just when Tsunade was feeling anxious, the beautiful dealer opened a corner of the color cup with extreme confidence. Just now, she had manipulated the chakra thread and changed the points on the dice. As long as there are 3 identical points, it is a leopard. Leopard kills all. Then she won't lose money. As she opened the color cup completely. Originally, she was still expecting everyone to lose money. But the sudden silence made her stunned. What's happening? Why do these gamblers look so strange? If you lose money, shouldn't you whine and complain? What does it mean to not speak? Just when she was puzzled, a rebuke suddenly appeared in her mind. What's wrong with you? Why did Tsunade win? The dealer was even more confused. Are you kidding? She has already made some moves, how could Tsunade possibly win? Isn't this nonsense? She was a specially trained croupier and a ninja who had been exposed to the art of gambling since she was a child. Although her gambling skills were not the best in the field, she could easily crush these gamblers. With all these years of experience, how could she fail? With a disdainful pursed lip, the beautiful dealer picked up the chips and pushed the rod. Then, her pupils suddenly shrank. 224, small. I actually failed? This is impossible. A cry of surprise seemed to express the thoughts of all gamblers. The gamblers were instantly in an uproar. FK, Tsunade's luck has changed. Chapter 59. I don't accept it. Why? Are you cheating? Baekelu, I lost all my money. Various sounds echoed around the gambling table. The faces of all the gamblers looked as if they had eaten shit. Tsunade can actually win money? Is there anything more outrageous than this? As a frequent visitor to the casino, no one had ever seen Tsunade win once. How did Tsunade, who was always losing, win? At this moment, losing money is no longer important to them. What gamblers care about is why Tsunade won. Without the curse of losing, how can they make money in the casino with the help of Tsunade? Ah ha ha ha, I finally won. Tsunade, who was extremely excited, stood up suddenly. He used his hands to move his chips on the gambling table. What are you looking at? You keep losing. What's wrong with me winning once? Tsunade glared fiercely at the cricket gamblers, with a ferocious look on her face. He looked just like a vicious dog guarding its food. It's all mine, it's all mine. The gamblers around immediately shrank their necks. Although Tsunade doesn't put on airs when gambling, she is one of the Sunin after all. They are familiar with it, but once Tsunade gets angry, they have no ability to resist. Just watching Tsunade win money is more painful than them losing money. Today, they both lost twice to Tsunade. Some people even have no money left to gamble because they have bet everything. Who would be happy with this? Haha, it must be fake. How could Tsunade always win in gambling? I'm going to borrow money now. That's right, I'm going to. I have to win back what I lost today, otherwise my wife probably won't let me have S*X with her. A few gamblers, cursing, walked towards the lending area of a euro the casino. The other gamblers also had some obvious interest in their eyes. However, they did not bet all in and still had some money in their hands. Once you start borrowing money, there is no turning back. Not everyone is Tsunade. After borrowing the money, the casino will not force you to pay it back. As for the few people who were obviously drunk, the gamblers just turned their heads away and paid no more attention to them. Ahem, Mr. Tsunade, please pay attention to your image. While in Tsunade's arms, pressed in front of the gambling table, Li Quan coughed lightly a few times. It's only just begun and Tsunade is already so excited. If she wins tens of millions after that, won't Tsunade be overjoyed? If you let it slip, you'll be in trouble. But how can Tsunade care about these? Counting the chips in her hand, her face was filled with a big smile. Win again. It seems that I will make a lot of money today. If I could pay off my debts all at once. Thinking of this, the smile on Tsunade's face grew more intense. Smiling complacently. After stepping back slightly to give Li Chuan some room to move, she looked at the dealer confidently. Keep going, I must win them all back today. Hearing this, the dealer's face looked obviously unnatural. Win them all back. Then she's dead. Tsunade lost at least hundreds of millions of dollars in the casino. Tsunade dares to win, but she doesn't. However, when the dealer thought of Tsunade's luck in gambling and his own cheating skills, he became more confident. What's there to say? Keep going. Everything, for Master Danzo. Holding the coloring cup, the beautiful dealer began to shake it with her white arms again. Li Chuan was stunned by the scene. Although he is not as good as Tsunade, this dealer is still quite good looking. It was that full of malice towards Tsunade. You still want to continue, right? After that, if the dealer takes even a penny from Tsunade, he loses. Li Chuan has no intention of showing mercy to women. To cheat his partner Tsunade out of money is to cheat him out of his money. If you cheat him out of his money, you are hindering him from becoming stronger. No one can stop him from becoming stronger. By then, when he has conquered enough outstanding ninjas and established his own power, the entire ninja world will change. At the same time, at the top, Shimura Danzo frowned as he watched what was happening at the gambling table. There was always a very uneasy feeling in his heart. He also didn't expect Tsunade to win. Although there have always been winners and losers in casinos, Tsunade has never won once in the casino's records. Otherwise, Tsunade wouldn't be called the big fat sheep. But now Tsunade actually won? And he won after giving orders to his men. How could he not know about the tricks in the casino? These dealers were talents that he had spent a lot of effort to train. The dealer's fighting ability is indeed not that good, but when it comes to cheating skills, he is first rate. Is it pure luck, or something else? Or maybe, the cursed necklace sent by Li Chuan? Before Danzo could figure out what was going on, his eyeballs suddenly bulged. Tsunade wins again. Both times, the odds were not adjusted at all. The first time, I bet 10,000 and made 100,000. The second time, after betting 130,000, Tsunade directly earned 1.3 million. Together with Tsunade's capital, the total is 1.43 million. After all the gambling, Tsunade has only lost 70,000 ryo. What the hell? When has he ever lost money in the casino where he hides himself? What's going on with dealer number 10? Go and ask me clearly. If you lose money again, I'll be sent directly to root reconstruction. With a roar, behind him, Yamanaka Feng, who had been silent all this time, quietly left the room. Then, outside the house, he used the telepathic technique. However, unlike the technique of turning the mind around and the technique of transmitting the body with the mind, it is very difficult to control. And if you are not careful, it is easy to get a nosebleed. Yamanaka Feng is not very good at this technique either. However, there is no problem in delivering messages in a small range. At the gambling table, cold sweat has already seeped out of the forehead of the beautiful dealer number 10. The situation reversed too quickly. She had clearly changed the number of points on the dice. Why does it still fail? She had more than 1 million in turnover, but before she could even warm up to it, it was gone. Is this still Tsunade's luck in gambling? It's so annoying. If you keep losing, you'll be finished. Odds are not something that can be adjusted at will. Casinos have their own rules. Now, she can only reduce Tsunade's odds to 1 to 5. But if I lose, it will be 5 million. Even if you sell her, she's not worth the price. Not to mention, when dealer number 10 thought of the sister who came back from the roots, his legs went weak. Not only did he suffer inhuman torture, but he even lost his body. What are you thinking? What's going on? If you lose again, you know what the consequences will be. The sudden sound made dealer number 10 tremble. The hand holding the color cup shook unconsciously. Clang, a slight sound came from the color cup. Sir, I don't know. I have already started. But the color just hasn't changed. Having had experience in communication, dealer number 10 replied in his mind tremblingly. But this answer did not satisfy Yamanaka Feng. As Danzo's confidant, he also understood that this answer would not satisfy Danzo either. Yamanaka Feng had some insightful guesses. Someone is cheating in the casino. Moreover, this method is extremely powerful. Who could it be? According to the root's intelligence, no one in Konoha has such great gambling skills. At the same time, in Tsunade's arms, Li Quan's eyes lit up. It's the art of mind-body transmission again. And the communication is ongoing. Activating Daluo Dongguan, he searched for the source of the energy fluctuation in the casino. Soon, he spotted Yamanaka Feng with a nosebleed outside a high-rise building. I didn't expect that the first secret technique I observed would be this. School starts. Chapter 60. Under the observation of Daluo Cave. It didn't take long for Li Chuan to discover the energy fluctuation patterns of the mind-body technique. Chakra is a combination of spiritual and physical forces. The core of this technique is to use spiritual power alone from chakra. As for the characteristic of nosebleed, it is because of the extraction of spiritual power inside the brain. The nasal cavity is the most vulnerable place connecting to the brain. Simply put, lack of subtlety in control will lead to loss of control of mental power. After studying for most of the day, I have roughly grasped the principles. However, how to mobilize spiritual energy specifically is still a problem. At this moment, dealer number 10 has not shaken the color cup for a long time. At this moment, a group of gamblers also rioted. No one can stop the enthusiasm of a group of gamblers. Some gamblers have even changed their minds. Tsunade's luck has changed today, so why not follow Tsunade and place your bet? It's all a gamble anyway, betting on Tsunade to lose is the same as betting on Tsunade to win. As long as they can make money, they don't care about anything else. Following various urging voices, dealer No 10's face gradually turned pale. It's not that she doesn't want to shake the color cup, but she really has no idea now. Suddenly, her expression brightened. The adult said that she could do it with confidence and he would not blame her if anything went wrong. That way, she wouldn't have anything to worry about. So the dealer shook the color cup again. At the same time, Shimura Denzo in the high-rise building looked at Yamanaka Feng with a gloomy face. Call those Hokage clan members at the root. If you dare to cheat in my casino, you are seeking death. Clear. Yamanaka Feng nodded and took action immediately. Denzo turned his head and looked at the gambling table below through the glass. No one has ever dared to cheat in his casino, never. Moreover, she cheated in front of him. Tsunade actually would play this trick on him. This is not like Tsunade at all. Because of what? Could it be that little devil called Li Quan? Although it is possible, who is the cheater? It seems that the previous feeling of voyeurism was not an illusion. Who could it be? At the entrance of the casino, the Hokage clan was expressly prohibited from entering the casino. The rules in the casino also prohibit people from using ninjutsu. Could it be that someone transplanted the Byakugan of the Hokage clan? That's not right either. When the white eyes are used, the characteristics are very obvious. How is it possible that no one noticed? Who is it? He clenched his fists, and was the only one left in the room. Denzo opened the bandage on his right eye. Sharingan's most basic ability is observation and insight. He wanted to see who had such courage. Then, Denzo got furious. 1,430,000, all in. The odds were 1 to 5, and he won again. That's 7,150,000 taels. The casino has never lost so much money, and this happened to Tsunade. Quick, change people for me, change dealer number 10. At the door, a root member disappeared instantly. At the same time, Tsunade was almost laughing madly. Subconsciously, she wanted to hug Li Quan and kiss him a few times. But Li Quan actually struggled. Then Tsunade understood what Li Quan meant. But then, she touched Li Quan's head and pinched Li Quan's face. You little pervert, you are really my lucky star. Look, with you here, I won a lot of money today. Li Quan curled his lips speechlessly. What does this woman want to do? Did she want to take credit for the good fortune and let others see how much she valued herself? That's fine. Then in the eyes of outsiders, Tsunade will become her own protective umbrella. But what was Denzo doing madly just now? I can't read lips, and even though I saw Denzo's rage before, I have no idea what he was saying. That's a pity. All around, a group of gamblers looked over with envy at Li Quan being ravaged by Tsunade. Why isn't this child himself? Not only was I in Lady Tsunade's arms, but I was also able to be touched so intimately by her. It seems that everything that should be touched and shouldn't be touched has been touched. For a moment, all kinds of murderous gazes fell on Li Quan. But dealer number 10 was trembling at this moment. I lost again, and I made a mistake again. That's more than 7 million taels of cash flow. It's all over. Her legs went limp and she collapsed to the ground. At this moment, the pupils lost focus. The adult said to just do it and not blame her if anything went wrong. But is it really like that? She is just an insignificant dealer. Right at this moment, a tall and stunning woman walked over amid the surprised gazes of the crowd. He is the number 1 dealer in the casino. Most of the regulars in the casino know this guy. But no one knows what it is called specifically. But Li Quan was covered in goosebumps. Are those densely packed bugs from the Aberme clan? What a pity to waste such a pretty face. Oh no, we are in trouble. Chakra thread, he can also find ways to stop the spread of power and change the points on the dice. But the problem of bugs is not easy to solve. Monster girl, that's a member of the Aberme clan. Try to imitate the technique of mind-body transmission. Li Quan's nose suddenly started bleeding. Seeing this scene, dealer number 1 just smiled slightly and looked at Tsunade provocatively. As a woman whose beauty is no less than Tsunade. Her figure may not be as good as Tsunade's. But now, the child in Tsunade's arms started bleeding from the nose after seeing her. She won this invisible battle. However, Tsunade didn't even look at dealer number 1. Instead, he lowered his head in shock and stared at Li Quan with extreme seriousness. Is this pervert crazy, saying something like this in a casino? Noticing Tsunade's gaze, Li Quan smiled. It seems that the first time I used my mind to transmit the message, I seem to have successfully delivered it. I just don't know how much Tsunade heard. And will the fluctuation of spiritual power be discovered? I don't think so. After all, there were no members of the Hokage clan in the casino. Don't worry, this is a new technique I have learned. Let's see if I can communicate in my mind. As he used it again, Li Quan became much more proficient. This also gave him a new understanding of the ability of Daluo Dongguan. Sharingan's ability to copy ninjutsu seems to be something he can do as well, but the method of copying is a little different. Suddenly, Li Chuan stopped using his spiritual energy. Damn it, I actually forgot. Although Sharingan is not as good as Byakugan in observing chakra in the human body, it can still observe. That guy Danzo is still watching him from a high level. Is it going to be exposed? Daluo Dongguan consumes chi and observes the changes of Tuanzang at all times. Not long after, he suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. I didn't realize how special I am. Scare him. Tsunade, who was holding Li Chuan, widened her eyes in shock. Nosebleed? Heart-to-heart technique? How did this pervert learn the secret techniques of the Yamanaka clan? Unlike Great Fireball, this secret technique has never been passed down to outsiders by the Yamanaka clan. Tsunade quickly took out a tissue and handed it to Li Chuan. She looked at the dealer number 1 who was walking towards the gambling table. A Barame clan? Danzo's arms really reach far enough. It seems that he wants to continue losing money. Should we stop while we are ahead? Master Tsunade, how about I take over the management? Having arrived at the gambling table, dealer number 1 bowed and saluted. Seeing this, dealer number 10 immediately retreated. After seeing dealer number 1 through the glass, Danzo regained his composure. Even if there is a gambling master helping you today, Tsunade won't be able to take a penny away from the casino. Also, the person who cheated, don't even think about leaving alive. Chapter 61. The gambling game started again. Only this time, Tsunade became cautious. It's not an all-in bet, just a small bet of 10 or 20,000. The result, not surprisingly, was a total loss. This is the result of secret communication between Li Chuan and Tsunade. The art of transmitting the mind to the body is not a particularly difficult art to learn. The difficulty lies in the control of spiritual power. But for Li Chuan, who possessed the Daluo cave observation, this was not a difficult task. He can see where spiritual power is weak and where it is strong. Then, by analogy with Tai Kai's exquisite control of strength, the control of spiritual power is not particularly difficult. As a result, he quickly became familiar with the use of this secret technique. Perhaps because of the time travel, his spiritual power does not seem to be weak. Moreover, under the observation of Daluo Dongguan, the spiritual power of the wind is very different from that of Yamanaka. It's like, they're not the same thing at all. Perhaps this was the reason why Danzo did not notice his spiritual power. You little pervert, do you have any other way to cheat? Why don't you just leave? Wait a moment, let me take a look. Using the mind-body transmission technique, he communicates with Tsunade. Li Chuan narrowed his eyes slightly. The current situation is very unfavorable for him and Tsunade. Although he could see the number of dots in the color cup every time. But in fact, before the dice cup is opened, there will be a few small bugs that change the number of points on the dice. Different from Chakra thread can block the transmission of power above. You can also use invisible force to change the points on the dice back after they have changed. At worst, the Chakra thread may be broken. However, the Abarame clan can sense the death of insects. It is quite difficult to kill bugs from a distance. If the player is not dead, he will tell the dealer what happened. Also, because he had been using the power of Daluo Dongguan, 40% of the chi in his body had been consumed. Once you have used up your mana bar, you can only wait for the next time. Now that I'm on guard, it might be harder to deal with it next time. System, Red Hand's ability, a small level of proficiency, there must be something special about it, right? Don't tell me there's nothing you can do. Ding, remote use, host realm limit range, currently the maximum straight line distance is 30 meters. Li Chuan was confused. He had never expected this to be the case. He just asked and then planned to try it himself to see if it could be used from a distance. But the system actually answered. The exact range is also given. It seems that the development of skills can be verified by querying the system. Good things. In that case. With a slight movement of his fingertips, invisible energy fell into the color cup and onto 6 fingernail-sized insects. Suddenly, the legs of the 6 insects went limp. Then lost vitality. Dealer number 1 was visibly stunned. Something is wrong. My own bug is actually dead. This. Use chakra thread or hair. There are many different ways to cheat, and she knows a lot of them. Otherwise, she wouldn't have become the number 1 dealer in the casino. Buy it and leave it, everyone, get ready to go. Wait, this time, I'm all in. At this moment, Tsunade suddenly stretched out her hand and interrupted the dealer's action. At the same time, Danzo felt a sudden pang in his heart when he saw Tsunade losing money. Why does this scene seem familiar? The money in Tsunade's hand was originally 1.43 million. Adding the winnings of 7.15 million, the total is 8.58 million taels. Even during this period, he lost another 380,000 taels. Tsunade still has 8.2 million ryo in her hand. Because of the loss, Tsunade's odds were adjusted to 10 to 1. In one go, 82 million taels would be lost. This. Even though Jimura Danzo was prepared, he couldn't help but be shocked. If the casino loses this time, Tsunade's debt of more than 80 million will be written off. When has gambling on the size of a game ever involved so much money? Calm down, calm down. Dealer number 1 is the best gambler in Konoha village. It is also his cash cow in the casino. Even if everyone loses, number 1 can never lose. This member of the Aberme clan was a master of gambling that he had cultivated with enormous resources. If Aberme and Ayaka lose, it will be troublesome. From now on, whenever Tsunade is short of money, she will come to her own casino and gamble. Is that okay? Do I need to cultivate the roots? Can't lose, absolutely can't lose. Staring at every detail of what happened, his right eye suddenly became a little blurry. Isn't this Sharingan? Why can't I find any problems? Everyone present could clearly see it, so why couldn't he figure out who was cheating? Ah, where are the Hyga clan members? Why haven't they come yet? Denzo threw the teacup in his hand toward the door and roared. Just after dealing with the Yamanaka style of dealer number 10 and opening the door of the room, I was hit by a teacup. Master Denzo, it will probably take another 5 minutes for those people to get here. Catching the teacup, Yamanaka Kaze Kaida. Also, dealer number 10 didn't lie. She had no idea what was going on. Don't say such nonsense to me. Check it for me. If you can't find it, no one will have a good day today. Pointing downstairs, Denzo roared with gritted teeth. If it weren't for the fact that this room belonged exclusively to him and had excellent sound insulation, his voice would probably have been heard by others. Before he could continue speaking, Yamanaka Feng's pupil suddenly shrank. Shimura Denzo, who observed this scene, immediately turned around and looked at the gambling table downstairs. Tsunade actually won. He sat down on the chair, and his whole body seemed to be exhausted. How so? How so? Whenever Aberme Ayaka makes a move, Tsunade can win money. What is wrong with this world? Could it be that I was hit by genjutsu? In front of the gambling table, Tsunade excitedly picked up Li Chuan and kissed him on the cheek. My dear brother, you are really my lucky star. Look, with you here, I have won so much money. I'll take you with me every time I come to the casino, okay? There is no flaw in what he said. I attributed my ability to win money entirely to my own luck. Moreover, he treated himself as his younger brother in public. Then the relationship between me and Tsunade has become one step closer. But Li Chuan knew clearly that it was his own fault that led to the current situation. If this continues, other unexpected things will probably happen. Li Chuan glanced at the gambling table with disdain and pursed his lips. Sister Tsunade, this place is not fun at all, it's too noisy, I won't come next time. These words directly hit all the gamblers hard. Just casually winning over 80 million taels, isn't that fun? See how happy Tsunade is after she won? Holding Li Chuan, he started giving out various benefits. This kid, he doesn't know how to appreciate the blessings he has, right? How nice it would be if they were the ones hugged by that evil body. But at the gambling table, Aberme Ayaka, who was looking at the dice, fell into a daze for a long time. She failed in her attempt? How is this possible? When it comes to gambling, she has never lost. How could she miss? After realizing that the insect was dead, she could even take it out of the color cup the moment she opened it, without revealing any flaws. But now, she couldn't change the number of points on the dice. Who is it? When Aberme Ayaka was puzzled, her eyes suddenly widened. Lord Denzo actually came down from the building. It's over. I won't be abandoned, right? I have never been bribed. At this moment, Shimura Denzo looked at Tsunade indifferently. Tsunade, I need to discuss something with you. Can we talk alone? Chapter 62. On the stairs against the wall, Shimura Denzo walked slowly. But those cold eyes made everyone's heart suddenly stop. Frighteningly cold. Unlike Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Denzo is disliked by almost everyone in Konoha village. It's not just that eerie atmosphere. More importantly, he is the leader of Konoha Anbu. Anbu is, on the surface, the darkest place in Konoha. The ninjas among them hide in the darkness and perform various dirty tasks. Who would like a department leader like this? Although now, Denzo has resigned from the position of Anbu leader because of Hitaki Sakumo's incident. But that aura still made everyone tremble a little. Tsunade, who was about to continue gambling, also froze in her smile. It turned out to be that old guy Denzo. Ill. Others are afraid of Denzo, but she is not. Now is the time of great fortune, is there anything that cannot be discussed later? Haha, I'm afraid that she will continue to make money. While in Tsunade's arms, Li Chuan also looked over curiously. Seeing this great villain among the Hokage with his own eyes, he still felt a little touched. But like Tsunade, he doesn't care much about Denzo. After we subdue Sasuke, we can let Jiraiya deal with it. Now, as long as Denzo doesn't provoke him, he doesn't want to communicate with this guy. Nagato's darkening was Denzo's fault. It was Nagato's darkening that led to Black Zetsu's subsequent actions. This critical node has not yet begun, this guy cannot die for the time being. As for whether or not you can win. Perhaps I am not his opponent for now. It is also possible that I can defeat Denzo. Who knows if Denzo has enough brains to use when fighting at this time. It was that aura that was staring at him with ill intentions that made Li Chuan very uncomfortable. He's targeting me, and he has bad intentions. This. What is the reason? Did I expose myself too much recently? After all, it was the first time for me to hide and develop, and I couldn't do it like my predecessor Li Chonggeng. The probability of surviving the tribulation is 9.8, which is rounded to 0. Denzo, Denzo, don't mess with me. Otherwise, the consequences will be beyond your imagination. Sneering in his heart, Li Chuan was a little afraid and took the opportunity to shrink into Tsunade's arms. This left Tsunade speechless. The pervert actually took advantage of the opportunity. Didn't she give this kid enough benefits today? And isn't this acting too natural? Shaking her head, she looked at dealer number 1, Aberme Ayaka. Go on. I lost a lot of money in the past. Whether I can make it back depends on today. Looking at Aberme Ayaka, who had not taken any action for a long time, Tsunade clenched her fists. She was never so hesitant when she lost money. The temperament of a gambler instantly appeared, and she slapped the gambling table directly. For a moment, Shimura Denzo's face darkened. Tsunade didn't even give herself any face. Is this going to be a falling out? The gamblers around also noticed that the atmosphere was not right and began to back away. Just gamble, what's the point of playing with your life, right? I didn't win or lose today, but I was troubled by Tsunade's sometimes upset gambling luck. As a result, few people are willing to gamble at this moment. But at this moment, everyone hoped that Tsunade would continue to gamble. Because today, they witnessed the history of Konoha Casino. The fat sheep's luck turned around and he even won a lot of money from the casino. If this continues, how much money can Tsunade win from the casino? 100 million, or more than 10 billion. Shimura Denzo, do you have the ability to come up with so much money? Therefore, everyone did not disperse, but just watched silently, watching the follow-up of the incident. What are you standing there for? Shake the color cup. In full view of everyone, Tsunade suddenly raised her leg and stepped on the gambling table. In Tsunade's arms, Li Quan was suddenly hit by Tsunade's knee and stumbled forward. This woman is taking a gamble. Tsunade, I invited you because I wanted to give you face. Don't be ungrateful. Denzo narrowed his eyes and was very angry. The depression and anger that had been suppressed with great difficulty rose up again in my heart. Why should I consider your face? Who do you think is more important to me, you or my teacher? But Tsunade just glanced at Denzo and smiled disdainfully. She even dared to threaten the Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, her nominal teacher. What's more, Shimura Denzo is the assistant Hokage. The Senjo clan has not yet died out. Of the remaining adult members, the weakest are Special J.A. Nin. She didn't need to give Shimura Denzo a favor at all. In Tsunade's arms, Li Quan sighed. Background is also part of strength. If Tsunade didn't have the background and strength, could she talk to Denzo like this? I am still weak and don't have enough strength to participate in this game. At most, it served as a fuse, igniting the conflict between the two. If I hadn't used my ability to cheat, this situation wouldn't have happened. It seems that it is not a good day to take the money away today. At the gambling table, Aberme Ayaka glanced at Denzo furtively. Now without Denzo's order, she didn't dare to shake the color cup. If we lose, as the odds continue to drop, the amount we lose will be several hundred million. That's close to the casino's profit for a month. She doesn't have the courage. But she was also extremely afraid when facing Tsunade, one of the Sunin. This person has been on the battlefield and killed people. It was not easy to offend both sides, which made her fall into silence. But it was obvious that she was still on Denzo's side and did not shake the color cup at all. And above the stairs, Shimura Denzo already had some regrets. Fearing that Tsunade would continue to win, he appeared in the casino. But if he thought about it carefully, he could just wait for those root members of the Hyuga clan to come. Then catch those people who cheated on Tsunade and catch them red-handed. But what if you still can't find it? If he lets Tsunade continue to win, his entire casino won't be enough to pay him back. So, he showed up. But Tsunade didn't even give him any face? This group of Tibetans is really embarrassed. Humph, come if you want, I have some news about Kato Dan. Throwing down his sleeves, Shimura Denzo suddenly turned around and walked towards the independent hut on the upper floor. Just one sentence directly hit Tsunade's soft spot. It also made Li Quan's expression change slightly. Kato cut? Apparently, this person is related to Denzo. This hit Tsunade's weakness and she couldn't continue gambling. Moreover, you may not be able to take the money with you. Wait for me, little pervert. At this moment, Tsunade patted Li Quan's head and said with a smile. But Li Quan could clearly see the anger in Tsunade's eyes. Angry. Denzo is about to be finished. Why not threaten Tsunade with anything else? Why use the thing that Tsunade cares about the most? Is Tsunade someone who can be threatened so easily? That's right, Kato Dan's position in Tsunade's heart is a bit too high. This is a problem. Nodding, Li Quan stretched out his hand to protect the chips on the table. Don't worry, Sister Tsunade. I will definitely protect your things. Seeing Li Quan protecting his food, Tsunade's eyes twitched. This kid is just reluctant to spend money. Be careful. Also, Kato Dan's identity is not very simple. He may be related to Denzo. The voice in her mind made Tsunade stunned. Does this pervert know something? Don't get into trouble with other people, just wait for me. After a brief exchange, Tsunade walked up the stairs alone. Then there was a click. Then, the one-way light transmitting glass on the upper floor exploded. Chapter 63. Inside the casino, a figure suddenly flew out from the broken glass. The figure in the black robe did not slow down at all after smashing the glass. Instead, it smashed through the wall of the casino and flew out into the street. Then, Tsunade took a step forward and stepped on the floor of the room. His body instantly flew into the air and jumped out from the big hole in the wall. This scene shocked everyone. Tsunade actually took action. Moreover, he attacked the Hokage's assistant blatantly in the casino. This. The shock in everyone's heart was like a meteor falling to the ground, and it lasted for a long time. Li Quan, after being stunned for a moment, immediately ran out of the casino. In this situation, there is no need to worry about Tsunade's bargaining chips. What he is worried about now is Tsunade's safety. The current Denzo still has some strength. And there is also this thing called resurrection coins. If this guy lost his fear and attacked with all his strength, Tsunade might not be his match. Even though they are in public now, Denzo probably wouldn't dare to use Hashirama's cells and Sharingan. But what if it happens? Moreover, this is Denzo's home ground, and there are many root ninjas around. One to many is never a good thing. But when Li Quan came to the street, he suddenly realized that his worries were unnecessary. The current scene is completely Tsunade defeating Denzo. And those mysterious lines on Tsunade's body, are they the Yin Seal and the 100 Healings technique? It seems that some of them are not particularly complete. It seems that Tsunade has not yet fully developed the 100 Healings technique. Haven't reached the level of a movie star yet? Having said that, this guy Denzo is really able to endure. Don't you want to expose Sharingan and Hashirama cells to the public? And this wind-style ninjutsu, are you serious? Just use vacuum sphere against Tsunade? This old coin would rather be beaten than reveal its strength. In that case, his body moved instantly, and Li Quan had the idea of a joining the battle. Just use the same level as when fighting Kakashi. The opportunity to beat Denzo openly is rare. Besides, it's late at night now, so as long as we are secretive enough, no one will see us. Even if someone saw him, he was now Tsunade's personally recognized little brother. My sister was bullied. As his younger brother, it's reasonable for him to go up and help. And on the streets, Shimura Denzo, who was kicked away by Tsunade, quickly formed seals in a few jumps. Then he took a deep breath and exhaled towards Tsunade. Wind escape, vacuum wave. The strong airflow turned into a sharp air blade, cutting through the air. But Tsunade just stomped on the ground and dodged it. Ninjutsu that can't hit is garbage. This is Tsunade's evaluation. Tsunade, the Grandmaster of Taijutsu, was extremely angry at this moment. Kato Dan's death was not an accident. What else could be the reason? Didn't Denzo think twice before saying this? When Kato Dan died, she felt that there was something fishy about it. But she checked for so long and didn't find any problems. Denzo actually knew that Duan's death was an accident. Who, except the murderer, could conclude that this was an accident? The moment she figured it out, Tsunade took action. If there is no substantial evidence, then I will force Denzo to tell the truth. And the other side. After being kicked twice again, Denzo's face turned a little blue and he fled towards the Hokage building. Tsunade's sudden action disrupted all his plans. In terms of strength, he can definitely defeat Tsunade. But if that happens, he will have no way out. Not to mention the anger of the Uchiha clan. Even the remaining Senju would eat him alive. Neither the Sharingan nor Hashirama's cells were something that could be easily exposed. What's more, he hasn't become Hokage yet. Konoha, the Konoha that had not yet become Shimura Denzo's. How could he be willing? So now, he can only continue to hide these two trump cards. But he cannot expose these two things, because his strength is totally not enough to suppress Tsunade. Plus, this place is still within the village. Even if Tsunade and he fought, they would not cause large-scale destruction to the village. This again tied his hands and feet. Full of frustration. Now, he can only go to the old man Sarutobi Hiruzen to mediate. However, what he didn't expect was, in the dark night, a small foot kicked him directly in the face. Caught off guard, Shimura Denzo fell to the ground from mid-air. Who is it? Before he could react, Tsunade's fist landed on his face and started beating him wildly. At the same time, an Anbu member came to the Hokage building. Hokage-sama, Tsunade-sama, and Denzo-sama are fighting near the village's largest casino. Flipping through the important documents of the Land of Fire, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly raised his head. Are you hard of hearing? What did you just hear? Squinting his eyes and smoking his pipe, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked over in confusion. Say it again. Tsunade-sama and Denzo-sama, in. Before the Anbu member could finish, Hiruzen suddenly stood up. Take someone there first. Seeing the Anbu members leave, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately took out his crystal ball. The telescope technique relies on extracting other people's chakra and combining the barriers of Konoha village to see all places in the village. He had collected Denzo's chakra a long time ago. After activating the crystal ball, the pipe in Sarutobi Hiruzen's mouth fell directly. Denzo, you idiot, the Senju clan is not extinct yet, why are you provoking Tsunade? After cursing angrily, he immediately rushed towards Denzo's location. A fight really broke out. And it's a crushing situation. When did Denzo become so weak? Or is it that I am too good and made Tsunade too strong? Also, why didn't Denzo use his right hand? This guy is hiding something from me. What is going on? Day after day, he, the Hokage, is not allowed to live in peace. Being a Hokage is tiring. He had just suppressed the matter of Hatake Sakumo not long ago. Now he's being given this again. There aren't many high-end combat forces left in Konoha. Hatake Sakumo just defected, and now Denzo is going to force Tsunade away. The only ones who can be used in the village are Jiraiya and Orochimaru. The patriarchs of the other families are all extremely shrewd. What if the ninja war breaks out again? And at a cross street. After Li Chuan kicked twice in secret, he chose to wait and see. Since Danzo doesn't want to reveal his strength, Tsunade is not in any danger. As for now, he doesn't want to attract too much attention. Didn't I see that all the villagers were surrounding the street? His secret kick that blocked Danzo's escape was already a risky move. In public view, he beat up Danzo together with Tsunade. I guess he will be famous tomorrow. Alas, do the villagers of Konoha really like to watch the fun? It made it inconvenient for him to do anything. By the way, Danzo probably didn't notice those kicks he made in secret, right? But it doesn't matter. Those kicks were not heavy, just at the level of a genin, at most they would make Danzo remember me. Hiss, who are you hitting, Lady Tsunade? So cruelly. Constrain yourself, Lady Tsunade, you must restrain yourself, otherwise how can this guy still be alive? Why does that person look so familiar? It seems to be, Danzo-sama. Amidst waves of discussion, Sarutobi Hiruzen, wearing a bamboo hat, finally came around. Tsunade, what are you doing? Stop it. Chapter 64. Facing Sarutobi Hiruzen's scolding, Tsunade didn't pay any attention at all. At this moment, she was only angry. That day, the image of Kato Dan bleeding profusely still echoed in her eyes. The only man who supported her, the man who brought her sunshine, died in front of her. But she was powerless and could only use Sage Jutsu to weakly heal the man. But now, nothing is unexpected. How could she not be angry? If Kato Dan's death is related to Danzo, what about his younger brother Shenshu? Is there any relationship between him and his master Sarutobi Hiruzen? I have to say, Tsunade is incredibly smart. It only took 2 or 3 seconds for me to think of other possibilities. And in her heart, she was even more certain of this guess. If it weren't for Li Chuan, I might have discovered it much later. And on the side, Li Quan's eyes widened. It's bleeding. What the hell? Tsunade actually overcame her hemophobia even when she was angry. Danzo, Danzo, I really have to thank you this time, you finally did a good thing. But then he stepped forward and grabbed Tsunade. This kind of mental illness is likely to be only a temporary cure. If Tsunade suddenly collapsed to the ground afterwards, it would be troublesome. For future safety reasons, Li Chuan didn't really want Tsunade to behave abnormally. If it was a temporary overcoming, then the fact that Uchiha Liang was treated in the hospital would definitely be suspected again. Sister Tsunade, there are too many people. We should stop. Communicating with each other mentally, Li Chuan hugged Tsunade's waist, and then he shouted loudly, Grandpa Hokage, come and help. This sudden scene made Tsunade slightly stunned. What does this little brat Li Chuan want to do? Why stop her? Moreover, this pervert was still reminding himself that his teacher was here. Could she not know that Sarutobi Hiruzen was coming? She hasn't known the truth yet, and she doesn't want to stop. By the way, this pervert seems to know something about Duan. There was a look of surprise in his eyes. Only then did she notice the dark red color on her fist. Her body trembled and her fist dropped weakly. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was about to take action, narrowed his eyes. Is Li Chuan so important to Tsunade? At this time, how could he stop Tsunade from going crazy? Also, what did Danzo do to make Tsunade so angry? He hurriedly came to the center of the group. Hiruzen looked at Danzo with a serious expression. It was so tragic, everyone was bleeding. Bleed. Tsunade's hemophobia is really cured. My apprentice has no weaknesses. No, there's one more. Subconsciously glancing at Li Chuan, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked seriously at the figures in the dark. This bunch of trash from Anbu. He had clearly given the order, asking Anbu and the others to take the initiative to stop them. But these people arrived faster than him, and no one took action. And the Uchiha police force. They were also watching from the sidelines, without any intention of stopping it. Is Danzo really so unpopular? Ahem. He coughed lightly a few times. The Anbu members around immediately began to evacuate the crowd as if they were familiar with the process. And around, Uchiha Fugaku, who had stopped all the Uchiha members, chuckled a few times. When Danzo got beaten, he was happier than anyone else. This guy who has been targeting Uchiha, only a rude woman like Tsunade dares to take action against him. But after today, can I cooperate with Tsunade? Not interested at the moment. What now? Return to the family. After waving to a few people, he walked towards the Uchiha clan's territory. Today, Uchiha's situation in the village is becoming increasingly embarrassing. Being able to cooperate with the Senju clan is a great thing for Uchiha. But cooperation requires an opportunity. Without this opportunity, all expectations will be nothing but fantasies. Maybe I should get in touch with the child next to Tsunade. The Uchiha clan member, Obito, that kid seems to be in ninja school. I don't know whether that child is familiar with this child. And after everyone dispersed, Sarutobi Hiruzen then looked at Shimura Danzo who had just stood up. What's going on? I don't know either. There was an eye contact. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked confused. You didn't know anything, and you just started a fight? What the hell? Tsunade had just caused trouble at the Hokage building in the morning, and Danzo went to mess with Tsunade in the evening. Is this guy Danzo crazy? Can you tell me what happened? She asked Tsunade, trying to use a kind tone. But out of the corner of his eye, he unconsciously looked at Danzo. Tsunade's attack was really harsh. It will probably take another month or two before I can see anyone. But he still restrained himself and didn't kill him. Hiruzen, look at your good disciple. If you don't give me an explanation today, this matter will not end. Having finally escaped from Tsunade's clutches, Danzo immediately became angry. Protecting his dislocated jaw, he glared at Li Chuan fiercely. This little BD actually dared to kick me twice in secret. Did he really think he didn't see it? If it weren't for those 2 kicks, he would have reached the Hokage building long ago. He hadn't even started yet, but this mean little BD actually took action first. When Tsunade noticed Danzo's gaze, she immediately protected Li Chuan behind her. Slow spirit. Tsunade suddenly found that she was not so afraid of blood. At least, she wasn't so scared when facing the bleeding Shimura Danzo. You dare. Retracting his gaze, Danzo snorted coldly. It was just this cold snort that tugged at the corner of Danzo's mouth. Then, Danzo felt that several of his front teeth had fallen out. Amount. Grass. That's it. Looking at the 2 people who were on the verge of a tense situation, Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep puff of his pipe and held his forehead. Headache. Until now he still has no idea what happened. But judging from the situation, the 2 of them seem to be ready to fight again. Isn't this a joke? It's better to smoke. 1 puff can eliminate your fatigue. He waved to Li Chuan and said with a gentle smile, Li Chuan, come and tell Grandpa what happened, okay? Behind Tsunade, Li Chuan looked at Danzo fearfully and said tremblingly, Grandpa Hokage, I'm afraid of this one-eyed grandpa. He's so fierce. He bullies my sister. One-eyed? Danzo felt like cursing. God, one-eyed. Both of his eyes are fine. But, this matter is really hard for him to explain. The transplanted eyes must never be exposed. Silently bearing the title, he glared at Li Chuan again. Also, did he bully Tsunade? Tsunade is fine now, but his face is covered with wounds. Who the hell is he bullying? Isn't it just that I won money? You threaten me just because I won money. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? With her fists clenched, Tsunade glared at Danzo fiercely and told him roughly what had happened in a casual manner. Looking at Tsunade's posture as if she was going to continue fighting. Danzo suddenly retracted his neck and hid behind Sarutobi Hiruzen. Oh, I don't want to have anything to do with you, a crazy woman. No one wants you when you're over 30, you deserve it. In an instant, Tsunade became angry and punched Danzo with her fist. But this time, he was stopped by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Although I was curious about how Tsunade could win money. But Sarutobi Hiruzen really didn't want the 2 to continue fighting. Both of them were useful to him. If the fight continues and both sides suffer losses, what if other villages become interested? The incident involving Hitaki Sakumo has already revealed the discord among Konoha's high-level officials. If they continue to make trouble, Konoha will be in trouble sooner or later. Stop it all. What's going on? Can't we just sit down and talk it out? Why do we have to do it? Compensation. Otherwise, this matter will not end today. Danzo shouted. Haha, how do you deal with my cheating? With a sneer, Tsunade secretly took the fingernail-sized bug handed to her by Li Chuan. Then he waved in front of Danzo. Chapter 65. Inside the casino. After a brief period of chaos, everything has returned to normal. This is Danzo's casino after all. Except Tsunade, no one dares to act presumptuously here. The gambling table used by Tsunade was still there intact. Sitting at the gaming table. At this moment, Aberame Ayaka was still carefully recalling the scene in which she was the banker not long ago. He lost 82 million in one go. This amount of money is not a small sum. If they hadn't encountered a big fat sheep like Tsunade, 82 million would be the casino's turnover for nearly 3 months. Someone has to bear such a huge loss. Obviously, this person is her. However, her skills in cheating are still of great use to Danzo. Danzo won't get rid of her just yet. Punishable, for sure. And it was the kind of punishment that would make her remember it for the rest of her life. Some people appear glamorous on the surface, but in fact, they are just playthings of others. Aberame Keixiong knew very well that she was one of them. She didn't want to be toyed with by a group of people from the route after being humiliated by Danzo. Now, the only way out. It is to deduce the means by which Tsunade could have cheated and show her own value. But suddenly, Aberame Ayaka's face darkened. When did one of the dead bugs in my sleeve disappear? No matter how hard Aberame Ayaka tried to recall, she couldn't remember when it happened. An ominous premonition lingered in my heart. She immediately walked into the room inside the casino and then slipped out through the back door of the casino. 10 minutes ago. Tsunade is seen leaving the casino. Li Chuan, admiring Aberame Ayaka, subconsciously wanted to follow her. However, after seeing the dead insects on Aberame Ayaka's wrist, he suddenly became interested in researching it. Aberame had tree bugs, which he used to crush to death at will. However, this dealer from the Aberame clan actually cheated with insects, which aroused his interest. Think about it for a moment. Li Chuan used Tai Chi power to stimulate Chi and quietly took one from Aberame Ayaka's sleeve. There is the Daluo cave observation, plus Tai Kai's exquisite control over Chi. He barely put in any effort. Time, back to the present. Looking at the black bug in Tsunade's hand, Danzo's expression suddenly changed. Insects are extremely common. But there are bugs with chakra residue, so they must have been raised by the Aberame clan. If you check carefully, you will definitely find out who the owner of this insect is. A bear may ayaka this idiot. How could there be such an obvious flaw? Also, will Tsunade cheat? Why does Tsunade have a bear may ayaka's bug? Who the hell is helping Tsunade? A series of questions made his brain crash. As for Li Quan, he didn't even think about it. It's impossible for a 5-year-old child to be so evil, right? Standing between Tsunade and Danzo, Sarutobi Hiruzen also saw the key. Tsunade can tell even if you're cheating. When did Danzo become so stupid? Leaving this kind of flaw behind, and still wanting Tsunade to pay compensation? Do you really think that the princess personally recognized by the Fire Nation daimyo is just a decoration? But now, Danzo can't get into trouble. With narrowed eyes, Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Danzo, then looked at Tsunade with a smile. That's the end of this matter. How about I pay you back for whatever you lost? Tisk, wishful thinking. Tsunade curled her lips. If this old guy hadn't come, I could have won more. Just for this, you want to get rid of me? Do you look down on me? Now that Sarutobi Hiruzen has made up his mind, he wants to keep Danzo alive. There is no point in continuing to argue about it. At this time, gaining more benefits is the most practical thing to do. As for how much, that depends on Danzo's bottom line. Tsunade, don't go too far. You've won over 80 million from me, isn't that enough? Wow, more than 80 million. At that moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen was shocked. Can Tsunade win more than 80 million in the casino? Is he hard of hearing, or is Danzo talking nonsense? That's more than 80 million. What did you bet on to win so much? At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly wanted to go to Danzo's casino. Isn't this just giving away money? How much subsidy for village children did he have to embezzle to get so much money? And judging from Danzo's tone, he obviously wants to use the 80 million to settle the matter peacefully. But when he said this, Danzo didn't even blink. How rich is that? For the first time, Sarutobi Hiruzen began to look at his old rival Danzo with new eyes. Then I'll continue to gamble a few times? And by the way, let's make public the fact that the casino is cheating. However, Tsunade only uttered 2 sentences lightly. In an instant, Shimura Danzo's face darkened. This is going to cost him his life. The casino can continue to operate because of its unknown cheating techniques and its superficial credibility. Once these 2 things are gone, the casino will be ruined. She wanted to cut off 60% of his income. Tsunade has such a vicious mind. It seems I have no choice but to give in. So, tell me, what do you want to do? On the other side, Tsunade pretended to be thinking. But secretly, I communicated with Li Quan for a long time. Soon, the 2 of them came to a conclusion. Don't push too hard. Otherwise, this guy Danzo would probably burn his boats. By then, no one will benefit. Let's do this. Looking at Danzo with a smile, Tsunade said, first of all, of course, all the money I earned in the casino today must be given to me. Make a deal. Nodding with gritted teeth, Danzo spat out the 2 front teeth that he had been holding in his mouth, and then waited for Tsunade to continue. This scene made Sarutobi Hiruzen burst out laughing. Hiruzen swore that he was a professional Hokage. After so many years of training, I have already mastered the superficial skills. He would never laugh at others in front of others. Unless you can't help it. You. On the side, Danzo raised his eyebrows and felt like vomiting blood. Which side does Hiruzen stand on? Before he could respond to Hiruzen's expression, Tsunade continued, second, my casino debt is written off. Hiss, another 80 million. Tsunade, who do you think I am? Then I'll go to the casino and continue. Tsunade sneered and made a move to leave. Seeing this, Danzo immediately shook his head and gestured to Sarutobi Hiruzen beside him. Deal, deal. Tsunade, if you have any other conditions, please state them clearly all at once. After receiving the signal, Sarutobi Hiruzen put away his smile and joined in the conversation. Please end it quickly. He also had to arrange people to suppress the news of this farce. There are 2 more, 1 condition. Just as she was about to continue discussing the terms, Tsunade suddenly changed her mind. At this moment, Tsunade was very surprised. Li Quan, this pervert, actually knows Danzo's bottom line. She didn't even know, how did this pervert know? Just listen to this perverted kid. Li Quan had given her more than enough surprises today. And it seems that there is nothing wrong in listening to this lecherous kid. The last condition is that every time I go to the casino from now on, give me 1 million free chips. Okay, very good, old man, I agree, but you can't cheat. Danzo squinted his eyes, and on the verge of exploding, he clenched his fists. Also, return all the bugs to me. Tisk, I've never cheated. As for this thing? Do you think I'm precious? There's only one, take it. Tsunade shook the bug in her hand and threw it away. Then, she hugged Li Quan and pinched Li Quan's cheek affectionately. Let's go and get the money with my sister. Chapter 66. No cheating? Impossible. Shimura Danzo crushed the insect he caught and instantly lost his composure. He had anticipated the other 2 conditions. It's just half a year's income. In exchange for the stability of the casino, there are no problems. That's why he agreed. Do you dare to agree to Tsunade's 3rd condition? It was because he concluded that Tsunade was cheating tonight, that's why he won so much money. In that case, even if Tsunade had free chips, it would only take a few minutes to lose them all. With Tsunade's luck in gambling, once she gets addicted, the casino will still make money. But if this woman hadn't cheated. His scalp went numb and Denzo immediately regretted it. Stop right there. I won't agree to your third condition. Denzo hurriedly took a step forward and prepared to catch up. However, on the side, Sarutobi Hiruzen stopped Denzo. Then he signaled with his eyes. Just give in and stop making trouble. At number, impossible. Denzo was suddenly startled as he directly interrupted Sarutobi Hiruzen's gaze. Hiruzen was actually preparing to pull his right arm. Did this old rival notice this? Inadvertently, he dodged Sarutobi Hiruzen's hand. Denzo, whose facial muscles were shaking with anger, asked angrily, Hiruzen, what do you mean? Do you think Tsunade is someone who speaks without thinking? Can she leave loopholes in her words? Suddenly, Denzo calmed down. Too many unexpected events happened today, so many that he couldn't wrap his mind around them. But Hiruzen is a guy whose brain works really quickly. I'll make the arrangements. There are a few difficult tasks recently, which I'll assign to the Senjo clan members. Tsunade has been too popular lately, please suppress her. Relit his pipe. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Tsunade's back. The smarter a person is, the harder it is to control him. Both Orochimaru and Tsunade are this kind of people. So, he likes this guy Jiraiya very much. However, being too smart is not necessarily a good thing. Some things are easy for smart people to notice. For example, the death of Rope Tree. Konoha needs stability, everything, for the prosperity of Konoha. 10 minutes later, the casino. Tsunade walked in with Li Chuan in her arms. Because of the previous commotion, the casino is now preparing to close. But after seeing Tsunade, all the staff were stunned. Then it just became a mess. However, a short and fat middle-aged man came down from upstairs. Everyone calmed down immediately. The manager is here. Lady Tsunade, I understand everything now. Please come this way. Is Denzo fast enough? Tsunade looked at the fat man in surprise and was a little surprised. The roots are really useful. The Senjo clan cannot communicate so effectively. I'm afraid I won't be able to give this little guy more of the 90.2 million I've earned. The intelligence organization of the Senjo clan is somewhat weak. It needs to be built well. The matter at the ninja hospital also needs to be handled properly. For now, just give this kid 10 million, plus the change of 200,000. The remaining money can be regarded as borrowed by yourself. Thinking of this, Tsunade smiled helplessly. I never thought that one day I would owe money to a little kid. The next day, night. After a tiring day, Li Chuan returned home carrying a suitcase. After all, it is more than 80 million, and it is not easy for Denzo to raise the money. Yesterday, the casino simply destroyed Tsunade's IOU. The money was just collected today. Li Chuan actually expected that Tsunade would only give him 10.2 million ryo. Eat your meal step by step. If he asked Tsunade for more money, his friendship with Tsunade would most likely be broken. Only long-term cooperation can bring stable benefits. It was Tsunade's idea of a euro keeping her word that made Li Chuan speechless. What credibility do you have with Denzo? However, although he didn't understand, he still respected Tsunade's idea. It's just that Tsunade didn't even ask him about Kato Dan. This surprised him a little. This woman is really patient. I think after my reminder, Tsunade will carefully check Kato Dan's identity. Now that Tsunade knows Kato Dan's identity, her hemophobia should be cured immediately. Come to think of it, today, no one is monitoring me. There is a problem. Anbu didn't come because Tsunade caused a disturbance in the Hokage building. But why did those people at the root also disappear? The last time this happened was because of Hitaki Sakumo. What is the reason this time? Activating the Daluo cave observation, Li Chuan looked into the distance. Wow, this vitality is similar to Tsunade's. It belongs to the Senjo clan. It seems that Tsunade is sending people to protect herself. Then, you can draw the lottery with peace of mind. But it's still the same problem as last time. If we don't make a big deal at once, we should continue to test the rules of the system. 10 million taels should be able to trigger a lucky critical hit in the lottery. But you can only draw once. If you do an experimental lottery, even if you have many chances, it is easy to not get good things. After struggling for a long time, Li Chuan decided to ask the system first. His system is very simple, it's just a lottery with Krypton gold. Before, the system was not intelligent at all, and he had never communicated with the system in detail. So he subconsciously ignored asking the system for answers. But after his previous experience of asking about the function of the red hand, he finally reacted. But it's not too late now. System, how are the lottery levels divided? No answer. System, open the properties panel. The properties panel suddenly popped up. Speechless expression appeared on his face. Li Chuan then asked a few more questions. Soon, he came to a conclusion. The system will only answer some of the questions. Not getting the ideal answer, he could only try it himself. Just like last time. Half is used for experiments, and the other half is used for extracting large waves. In the last lottery, there were 10 draws with 30,000. This time, let's use 50,000 to do 10 consecutive draws. 50,000 per draw, start 10 draws in a row. The familiar countdown begins. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning. As the draw ended, Li Chuan was stunned. Regarding the Ledongwen observation, the proficiency has increased to 27%. It seems that the main purpose of lottery draws below 50,000 yuan is to improve proficiency. Apparently, the limit does not exceed 40%. What about the 100,000 yuan one time? As Li Chuan gave orders in his mind. The draw ended quickly. After spending 1 million, I got a superpower. Feng Xian's ability to travel through space. And the proficiency level directly reached 40%. This made Li Chuan very happy. Spatial abilities, with a very high upper limit. Minato Namikaze was able to decide the outcome of the Third Ninja War with just Flying Thunder God and Raise Nan. With this ability, he will be much safer. Moreover, his movement speed will also undergo a qualitative change. Perhaps, this ability can be packaged as Flying Thunder God and used openly. Even though he spent 1.5 million, he was unable to raise the proficiency of any skill to more than 40%. Li Chuan was still speechless. But he didn't care. The bulk of the money was still the 5 million he had reserved. For Li Chuan, the current lottery is just a trial run. And these experiments are briefly summarized. That is, his total amount of qi increased by another 5 years, reaching 35 years. Proficiency in all skills. Including Red Hand, Wuodang Tai Chi, Daluo Cave Observation, and Space Shuttle, all reached 40%. There is still a budget of 3.5 million, so continue the experiment. Tonight, I must make myself happy by winning the lottery. Chapter 67. In the room. Looking at the money divided into two parts in front of him, Li Chuan fell into deep thought. Next, is it 10 consecutive draws with 150,000 draws each, or 10 consecutive draws with 200,000 draws each? In his opinion, the prize for the lottery should be linked to the reward level of the ninja mission. The cost of D-level rewards is between 5,000 and 50,000 taels. There are two main types of things you draw, cultivation and proficiency. The C-level reward costs between 30,000 and 100,000 taels. In addition to your cultivation and proficiency, you may also get treasures. For example, the demonic sword 1,000 blades. The cost of a B-level reward is between 80,000 and 200,000 taels. What you draw is still your cultivation and proficiency, plus some special skills. Such as Tai Chi and space travel. Because there is overlapping area. Based on the experience of these few draws, combined with guesswork, Li Chuan made specific divisions into the levels and consumption of items obtained. Level D, 5,000 to 50,000. Class C, 50,000 to 100,000. Grade B, 100,000 to 200,000. For Grade A, it might be between 200,000 and 1 million. This completely excludes lucky critical hits. After all, when I drew the demonic sword 1,000 blades before, it was a draw with a prize of 30,000, which was not included in the above situation. Moreover, the novice gift pack and the first lottery are too special to be included. That's roughly the situation. So Li Chuan is a little conflicted at the moment. There is still less money. If there are hundreds of millions, or even billions, why should he still worry about these things? Just use the money and pile up the specific data. The probability can be as precise as a few percent, and then you can draw directly according to the probability to get the item of the level you want. That is the most perfect application of the system. Come on, 150,000. After all, there are still 3.5 million taels. You can have 10 sets of 150,000 taels and 200,000 taels each. After that, just use 5 million and start drawing directly. Having made up his mind, Li Chuan gave the system an order. The 10 consecutive draws of 150,000 taels began. As the countdown ends, Li Quan's eyes suddenly widened. What the hell? Puppet like a flower. Hiss, this. At this moment, Li Chuan was completely stunned. 3 puppets like flowers, and a devouring sack. With a 40% chance of finding treasures, my luck is just too good. And there is also a space-type treasure. Now, the money hidden in the house no longer needs to be discovered. That is, I didn't get any proficiency or cultivation this time. The B-level lucky draw actually includes a thank you for patronage. This. Is the system greedy for its own money? In the past, every time we drew a lottery, there was a guaranteed minimum proficiency of 1%. Ding, B-level and above rewards, I will use the money I have to spend to upgrade the system. Currently I have accumulated 900,000 taels. Trigger mechanism. The system can actually be upgraded. Moreover, the system confirmed one thing. His classification of rewards is correct. Finally, I know some specific information about the system. Good thing. After collecting the 3 Ruhua bodies with the devouring sack, Li Chuan gave the system an order. Continue to draw 10 times. If you have time, you can use the money to upgrade the system. In this case, Li Chuan wouldn't care about finding time. No matter what, you won't lose out. The countdown begins again. As the draw ends, Li Chuan suddenly laughed. This time, although there was only one thing, the corners of his mouth curled up unconsciously. Su San's special ability, psychic power. To be more precise, it is the method of spiritual cultivation and the use of spiritual power. The shortcomings have been made up. When his mental strength becomes stronger, he won't be afraid of any genjutsu. Ever since his physical body became strong, what he feared the most was the genjutsu in the Hokage world. Some genjutsu not only make people lose themselves, but also forcefully brainwash them. The most direct way to overcome genjutsu is to have strong mental strength. Li Chuan has never practiced spiritual power. So, he was very scared. Afraid of encountering a ninja with Grandmaster Genjutsu. No matter how strong his physical skills are, once he is hit by Genjutsu, he will be at the mercy of others. Especially in the village, there is the perverted family Uchiha. Once this family wants to take action against him, he has only one ending, death. Fortunately, everything is different now. As long as he can quickly improve his mental power through psychic power, no one can defeat him through Genjutsu. System, open the properties panel. As Li Chuan finished speaking, the panel suddenly appeared in front of him. Name, Li Chuan. Age, 5 years old. Realm, Diamond Realm. Skill, 1 Red Hand of the Double Hand, 2 Wu Dang Tai Chi, 3 De La Dongguan. Observation, 4. Space Travel, 5. Mental Power, Special Abilities, Mental Power and Total Amount of Chi are linked. Total Amount of Chi, 7 Cups of Water, 35 Years of Cultivation. Task, obtain the title of Genin, to be completed. Before I knew it, I had acquired 5 skills. So what can I get with the next 5 million? You won't find time to upgrade the system? It shouldn't be the case. After all, the 5 million used for lottery has consumed a total of more than 10 million taels. Lucky critical hits should be triggered several times at least. Raffle draw. Ding. Host's first time, S-level lottery starts, triggering lucky critical strike. Ding. Host's cumulative gold consumption is 11.155 million taels, surpassing 10 million taels for the first time, triggering a lucky critical strike. Congratulations to the host for obtaining SSS level skills, Heavenly Master Degree, 1/5, Tianchi Degree, 1/5, Skill Effect, can be used once a year to help others enter the state of enlightenment. Note, no negative status. What the hell? When Li Chuan saw this thing, he immediately started swearing. It's actually this thing. Tian Shida's skill indirectly gave birth to the 8 wonderful skills. 5 million, and you can actually get something like this? Is the system playing a joke on him? Even though it's only 1/5 of the Heavenly Master's degree, it's still the Heavenly Master's degree. And it is a Heavenly Master level without any negative state. The CDs during that year were no longer a thing. Once a year, a new conceptual skill is born, or a super powerful person is born. Just thinking about Li Chuan makes my scalp tingle. Although the others who are being helped need to have a strong understanding in order to realize their abilities. But that's not a problem at all. There is never a shortage of talented people in the Hokage world. In just a moment, Li Chuan thought of more than a dozen targets. Tsunade, Uchiha Shisui, Uchiha Itachi, Hitaki Kakashi, Meitaka. Which of these people is not a brilliant and amazing person? It seems that we need to start planning our contact with these people as early as possible. Suddenly, Li Chuan raised his eyebrows. It was strange that there was a slight movement outside my house. Who is it? Being able to get close to home under the eyes of several Senju clan members. This ability to hide alone should not be underestimated. Using the Daluo cave observation, Li Chuan scanned the surroundings, and then his eyes suddenly widened. It's this woman? Interesting. Isn't this the dealer in Danzo's casino where Tsunade lost 80 million ryo? Looking for me in secret, what does this woman want to do? To be honest, if you don't need the Daluo cave observation, you can't see the worms in this woman's body. This woman is really beautiful. She was also wearing a black tights, which made her look even more charming and enchanting. But this woman's mistake was that she underestimated his strength. It's just right, try out the new abilities you have acquired. As Li Quan's mind moved, a crack appeared in front of him. Then he put his hand directly into the gap. Chapter 68. Outside the small 2-story cottage. A woman with a slim figure, wearing a tight black nightgown, lurks in the darkness. As she pointed her fingers at the wall, a large number of black bugs swarmed out from her fingertips. Then they headed towards the second-floor cabin and surrounded it. As for the tiny sounds made by the insects, she didn't care at all. Even she herself couldn't hear it clearly. Can a child find out? By this time, the child should have fallen asleep. Looking coldly at the 2-story house in front of her, she controlled the insects and prepared to open the window. The woman was naturally a Bearmei Ayaka. Originally, she was not planning to leave the casino. But what made her make up her mind was the miserable condition of dealer number 10. His innocence was lost, his arm was broken, and several ribs were broken. So she ran away. She shuddered at the thought. The Root's actions were too cruel to those who had no value. If she continued to stay, she couldn't imagine what would happen to her. However, a Bearmei Ayaka is not ready to leave Danzo. She has the ability to eradicate all evil with her tongue. Her sister was threatened by Danzo. And she is just an ordinary member of the Bearmei clan. The Bearmei clan would never turn against Danzo for her. So she could only save herself. But, facing Tsunade, she was really powerless. After much thought, she decided to target Li Chuan. The relationship between this child and Tsunade seems to be extremely close. Being able to control this child, he can know something about Tsunade's winnings yesterday. And with her strength as a Chonin, wouldn't it be easy for her to control a child? Just when a Bearmei Ayaka was feeling proud. Suddenly, a crack appeared behind her. Before she could react, a small hand grabbed the clothes on her back. A feeling of confusion appeared instantly. After a while of dizziness, she came to a very unfamiliar place. What caught my eye was a somewhat old guest table and a wooden sofa. As well as 2 potted plants that are growing very lushly. It's simply creepy. Horrified. Whose living room is this? Why am I here? Have you seen enough? A cold voice sounded, and a Bearmei Ayaka jumped up in surprise. Turning her head to look at the child behind her, her pupils were filled with disbelief. Is this the kid's home? What is going on? Space-time ninjutsu? Has he been discovered? Vigilantly scanning for the enemy, she simply ignored Li Chuan. Space-time ninjutsu, that is an extremely rare thing. Apart from spiritualism, she had hardly seen anything else. Is it the J.A. Nin sent by Tsunade? Who could it be and why hasn't he shown up yet? The other side. Li Chuan was speechless when he saw that this woman ignored him. This woman can do whatever she wants. Anyway, I can control the situation and I'm not afraid of this woman doing something wrong. However, space travel is really useful. Cooperating with Daluo cave observation, they opened up space channels with great precision. Even though there was a wall between them, he didn't find the wrong spot. Perfect perspective and free space to travel. If this fight breaks out, it can totally fool the enemy. Pa-a slap passed through the space crack and landed on a bear Mei Ayaka's buttocks. Li Chuan nodded with satisfaction. I was more skilled this time. The control of distance is better than last time. But a bear Mei Ayaka was instantly startled. However, before she could get into the air, a hand landed on her shoulder. He pushed her down and made her sit on the sofa. Why are you so excited? Listening to the voice coming from half a meter in front of me. A bear Mei Ayaka's face suddenly became terrified. Some ninjas have extremely strong perception, and she is one of them. That's why she was able to avoid several people from the Senju clan by sensing the chakra of the surrounding ninjas. Then we came to Li Quan's home. It's a coincidence, if those Senju guys weren't busy driving away another group of people, they wouldn't have the time to pay attention to the details. She might not be able to get close to Li Chuan. But even so, it shouldn't be possible that I can't notice anything, right? Who could have such an outrageous strength? She turned her head tremblingly, and the strange scene scared her so much that she instinctively wanted to scream. A mysterious crack. There is also a child's severed hand. Her pupils suddenly contracted, and Ayaka Bear Mei's shame at being attacked on the buttocks disappeared instantly. What came over me in an instant was incomprehensible fear and tension. With cold sweat on her forehead, she felt her mind go blank. Especially, before she could scream, a small hand blocked her mouth. A Bear Mei Ayaka was frightened and fainted. His eyes turned white and he was completely unconscious. Watching this scene, Li Chuan was stunned. Didn't he use space travel to hold down the woman's shoulders and block her screaming mouth? Are you frightened by this? I don't think I turned on the light. By the way, since the system was started, he rarely turned on the lights at night. Anyway, whether it can be opened or not, he can see it with his eyes now. It can also prevent those who are secretly monitoring him from seeing clearly what he is doing. But now the situation. He didn't know what to say. So he just made a horror movie. At the same time, Senju Yan and several tribesmen stopped. These guys at the root are really difficult to deal with. The three Senju clan J.A. Nin, plus himself, the Senju clan's intelligence chief, were unable to catch a single one. The task given by the patriarch is a bit difficult. Kato Dan is related to Denzo. Where did the clan leader get the information? He's been dead for 4 years. Given the way ninjas handle intelligence, there are no clues left. Where would he find this? At this moment, Senju Yan is really having a headache. Speaking of which, this time, in addition to looking for clues about Kato Dan, the other thing is to protect the little kid named Li Chuan. I don't know what magic power that little ghost has. He actually asked the clan leader Tsunade to send 4 J.A. Nin for protection. One of them is him, the head of the Senju clan's intelligence department. Alas, what is the situation of the Senju clan? Doesn't the clan leader know? There weren't many people to begin with, and now they're sending 4 of them out. Isn't this just making trouble? Go back and check on that little devil. He waved to the 3 people around him and looked in the direction of the village. A few minutes later, looking at the small second floor with the lights off, Senju Yan was suddenly stunned. There is a problem. After carefully exploring the surroundings, his face suddenly darkened. Bugs with chakra. And still alive. Oh shit, the Bear Mei clan is here. Come inside and take a look. After giving an order to his tribesmen, he immediately rushed towards the house. However, before he reached the door opened automatically. Li Chuan was seen holding the dustpan with disdain, and then waving it toward the door. In an instant, a large number of black insects were lifted into the air. What the hell? Seeing this scene, Senju Yan was stunned. This number of insects, at least they are all Chonin of the Bear Mei clan, right? How did this kid do it? Where did the bug's owner go? In the dark night, their eyes met, and Senju Yan picked his feet awkwardly. Obviously, I was sent to protect this kid. But now it seems that this little devil actually solved it by himself. Doesn't this make him seem useless? Just do whatever Sister Tsunade arranges, don't worry about me. At the door, Li Chuan just smiled and said. By the way, don't pry into my secrets. Sister Tsunade should have told you about this detail, right? Then, the door suddenly closed. Chapter 69. Outside the door. Senju Yan's expression kept changing. Clan leader Tsunade clearly said that it was a secret protection. Then this little ghost shouldn't know their identities, right? But how did this kid know this? Guess? Is this a joke? It was almost 9 o'clock, and only the Uchiha guards would come to visit the accommodation area. When you see these strangers, can you recognize their identities at a glance? It's puzzling and I can't figure it out. There is still a sense of difficulty in collapse. I was just starting to perform the mission, but I was discovered by a child. How shameful. It's a pity that he is the intelligence minister of the Senju clan. Protecting this child. Not only did the child have to solve the problem himself, but his identity was also exposed. The most important thing is that this child actually reminded himself. Although Tsunade said that they were not allowed to explore the secrets of this little brat. But none of them even thought of investigating. After all, what secrets can a little kid have? Aside from the fact that clan leader Tsunade has been paying a little more attention lately, what else could be worthy of their attention? Just a substitute for the rope tree. But now, Senju Yan suddenly became interested. Master Yan, what shall we do next? A member of the Senju clan came to Senju Yan. The other two were waiting in a corner not far away. You guys stay at a distance, I'll go find out what this kid is capable of. But what about the clan leader? What are you afraid of? If anything goes wrong, Laozi will take care of it. After glaring at the tribesman, Senju Yan rubbed his hands excitedly. It has been a long time since I met a kid as interesting as Li Quan. After a few jumps, he arrived directly on the roof of Li Quan's house. Inside the house, Li Quan used the Daludongwen technique and looked at the roof in silence. Is this thin man mentally ill? The person outside seemed to call this man Lord Yan. Senju? Like the woman in his bedroom, she is a person who did not appear in the original Hokage work. They are all supporting roles. If he hadn't shown up during the Naruto era, he might not have many years left to live. Why are there so many dramas? If it weren't for Tsunade's sake, he would have sent this guy to see the king of hell. You want to play, right? Then I'll play with you. Smiling and shaking his head, Li Quan's mind began to move. On the roof, Senju Yan is preparing to perform ninjutsu. However, before he could take any action, a crack suddenly appeared under his feet. Ah, she screamed, but the sound didn't even get out. He fell into an unknown space. Instantly, Senju Yan was stunned. The other three members of the Senju clan were also in a state of confusion. Where did Senju Yan-sama go? How come it disappeared in the blink of an eye? As they were looking around, about 30 meters in the air, Senju Yan's body suddenly appeared. The screams came out again. But the moment it spread out, it was blocked by a vibrating energy barrier. Then, another space crack appeared about 3 meters below his feet. As Senju Yan fell into the crack, he began to fall endlessly. Doctor Strange uses Loki's tricks. Li Quan actually didn't think of completely replicating this move. After all, Loki fell in a different space. He simply opened up 2 space cracks that opened to each other at an altitude of 30 meters. Then, he used the sound isolation method he learned from Tsunade to block the propagation of sound. As long as you can use some leverage, it's easy to leave that area. But it seems that Senju Yan didn't seem to find the shortcomings of this little trick. Just consider it a punishment. The chi in one's body can create 2 cracks that can pass through other people, and can only last for 10 minutes at most. When there is only 10% of the chi left in the body, release the Senju flame. Let's be honest. When he used the space rift himself, the consumption was not particularly great. It can teleport others, but the consumption is quite serious. And the farther apart they are, the more chi is needed to open the crack. I don't know how far I can move with my current chi. After the exams in 3 days, the ninja school will have 2 days off. Let's try it at the back hill of Hokage Rock. Thinking about this, he came to his bedroom. Looking at a bare Mei Ayaka who was rolling her eyes while sitting on her little stool, Li Quan pursed his lips. Kill him, or what? As soon as this woman appeared, she became hostile towards him. However, this dealer's gambling skills are still very impressive. Otherwise, the original dealer number 10 would not have been replaced. Once this woman is conquered, then he can make money faster. It's just that he has no means to control people now. So this matter is very troublesome. Li Quan had thought about controlling others a long time ago. When Orochimaru accepted him as his teacher, he knew that Orochimaru would never be content. At that time, he didn't care because the benefits were greater. But later, if he wants to build up his power, he will have to pay attention to this aspect. He is not good at talking. Therefore, the means to control people became something he must have. As for that idiot Hatake Sakumo, he is a complete fool who keeps his word. After he won the fight, Hatake Sakumo agreed directly and recognized him as his boss. Snapping his fingers, Li Quan waited. He must subdue this dealer. All for making money. Once you have money, everything will be easy. Complete the double hands and use the ability of the blue hand to modify other people's cognition. He was too lazy to think of other methods. Wait until this woman wakes up. And outside the house, Senju Yan's mind was a little confused. He kept falling and had no idea what was going on. Moreover, the falling speed is still accelerating. If this continues, he will be killed sooner or later. Who has such a terrifying ability? The pupil gradually loses focus. As the cold wind blew, he felt his eyelids becoming heavier. To be honest, if they were not members of the Senju clan, they would all have very strong physiques. Now, he has already fainted. Inadvertently, he saw 3 tribesmen under his feet and immediately called out to them. However, what surprised him was that even though they were more than 30 meters apart, these 3 people didn't react at all. At this moment, Senju Yan went crazy. Forcing himself to remain calm, he analyzed the situation calmly. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Then, he began to make seals with both hands. Observing this scene, Li Quan immediately strengthened his Daluo Dongguan ability. With this chakra fluctuation, what ninjutsu is Senjuyan going to use? After 3 or 4 seconds, Li Quan's eyes suddenly widened. Eagle. It turned out to be a transformation technique. By the way, can the bird transformed by the transformation technique fly? Well, it looks like it's okay. It seems a bit difficult to fly. It is a transformation after all, and it seems that it can only barely imitate the abilities of living creatures. Now that it's cracked, I won't play it anymore. As he thought about it, the cracks in the soundproof barrier disappeared instantly. At the same time, the eagle flapped its wings in the sky, flew swayingly for more than 10 meters, and suddenly with a bang, it turned into the appearance of Senjuyan. Then it fell directly from a high altitude. It was at this time that the 3 members of the Senju clan discovered Senjuyan. I'll take it. I'll do it. Before the 3 of them could finish discussing, Senjuyan directly hit one of them. Hey, it doesn't hurt. Shaking his head, he looked up dazedly and glanced at the 2-story building not far away. Suddenly, his body trembled violently. Creepy. He, an elite JA. Nin, was actually tricked by an unknown being. Even now, he doesn't know what's going on. Retreat, retreat. Then, Lord Yan, can you move a little bit? Chapter 70. Looking at the tribesmen below him, Senjuyan fell into a brief silence. It seems that I accidentally killed a member of my tribe. It turns out that it didn't hurt, it fell on the tribesmen. This is a bad start. If it weren't for the strong vitality of the Senju clan, I'm afraid that this hit would cause this tribesman to be seriously injured. Senjuyan quickly stood up and asked another tribe member to take the injured person back to the tribe. And in the house. Seeing that there was no movement outside, Li Quan no longer paid attention to it. After more than 2 hours, Li Quan began to feel sleepy. A bear Mei Xiang, who was thrown on the small stool by Li Quan, finally woke up. After opening her eyes, her first reaction was to scream. Then, as expected, Li Quan blocked a bear Mei Ayaka's mouth again. The 2, one big and one small, stared at each other. The difference is that Li Quan's eyes are full of helplessness. A bear Mei Xiang, on the other hand, looked at Li Quan in horror. Feeling the little hand on her mouth, she felt a strong sense of familiarity. It seemed to be the same one that blocked her mouth before. Trembling body, she instinctively wanted to escape. But at this moment, her legs became weak and she could no longer move them. I couldn't even move. Woman, don't move or make any noise, or the consequences could be very dangerous. Do you understand? If you do, just blink your eyes. The voice that sounded in her mind made a bear Mei Ayaka's pupils shrink suddenly. This is the technique of the Yamanaka clan. In an instant, a huge wave of shock surged in her heart. It turned out that the kid had a nosebleed before, not because he saw himself. I have never defeated Tsunade. Whether in terms of body shape or at the gambling table. Wait, those guys who cheated on Tsunade. Impossible, absolutely impossible. It must be someone else. It couldn't possibly be this kid. But thinking of her own situation, a bear Mei Ayaka blinked immediately, and then Kaida. In her heart, I understand. Yo? This woman is quite familiar with telepathic communication. After a moment of surprise, Li Quan let go of his hand. Tell me, what is your purpose in looking for me and what do you want to do? Nervous opening. A bear Mei Ayaka, who was still weak in the last second, suddenly took out a kunao and stabbed at Li Quan. Yo hui! How dare this woman take action? Li Quan just watched quietly, not even bothering to react. Although the kunao is sharp, it is still an ordinary weapon. He is not afraid of any special ninja tools except the beheading sword. But a bear Mei Ayaka was confused. She didn't mean to kill Li Quan. She was going to use this child to show Danzo his value. When a person dies, there is no information and no value. But why didn't the child hide? Is there really anyone in this world who is not afraid of death? He moved his arms in panic. The kunao that was originally intended to stab Li Quan's throat changed direction and stabbed Li Quan's right shoulder. Let this kid suffer a little, so that I can continue to interrogate him for details later. Ding! There was a sudden clear sound. A bear Mei Ayaka's eyes suddenly widened. There was no blood splatter as imagined. There was no wailing of fear as imagined. There was only a pair of eyes that looked at him teasingly. And the kunao resting on the surface of Li Quan's skin. Have you had enough of the fuss? Can we have a good talk? But before Li Quan could finish, a bear Mei Ayaka immediately chose to flee, pushed open the glass window, and jumped directly from the second floor. You're really not honest enough. Fortunately, from this angle, Senjuyan and the others can't see it. While talking to himself, a crack appeared on the roof in front of Li Quan. A bear Mei Xiang, who was confused, fell out and landed on Li Quan's bed. Dong dong! The bed bounced twice before a bear Mei Ayaka came to her senses. Who is it? Come out. Holding the kunao cautiously, she looked around. But no matter how hard she sensed, she couldn't detect any other person's presence. Finally, her gaze fell on Li Quan in horror. A bear Mei Ayaka is not a person who accepts her fate. Therefore, she dared to escape from the casino and also dared to think about using Li Quan. After realizing she couldn't beat Li Quan, she didn't accept her fate but chose to run away. However, the space ninjutsu at that time directly overturned her cognition. Is there such a cheap time-space ninjutsu? Even people can be transferred at will, what a joke. And there was no sign of anyone else around. Then there is only one possibility, it is this child. The one who cheated was this kid named Li Quan. The sky fell. The moment these thoughts came to her mind, all that remained was fear. Haha, fake, all fake. Who am I, where am I, and what is wrong with this world? Standing by the bed, Li Quan just looked at Aberme Ayaka, waiting for the woman to sort out her thoughts. In addition, he also wanted to see what other actions this woman could take. But after noticing that Aberme Ayaka was staring at him with an expression as if he had seen a ghost, Li Quan suddenly lost interest. It's not fun at all when people are stupid. He stretched out 2 fingers and shook them gently. Now, I give you 2 choices. 1. Kill you, like this. A crack suddenly appeared in front of him. Li Quan reached out and pulled out a branch. As the crack closed, there was no sound and the branch broke instantly. The moonlight poured in through the window and touched the tiny, finger-thick cross-section of the fracture. A little reflection happened to catch Aberme Ayaka's eyes at this moment. A thin layer of sweat appeared on Aberme's forehead, and a chill rose in her heart. That is fear, the fear of death. At this moment, she was afraid. The calm child in front of her made her soul tremble. Space-time ninjutsu, this kid is really using it. If the kid had made a mistake just now, she would have been broken into 2 pieces. I choose to. Actually, I still like the way you look confident in the casino. Chuckling, Li Quan stretched himself. The second one is to work for me in the future. I need a lot of money, a lot of money. As he said this, he mobilized his mental strength and pinched Aberme Ayaka's heart. Don't even think about running away, I have plenty of ways to find you. Just now, I planted a spell on your heart. I think you should have noticed it, right? Li Quan smiled and narrowed his eyes. How could he know any spells? I did this because I was thinking about what would happen to Lin in the future. But it seems that the effect is very good. Interrupting Aberme Ayaka's frantic nodding, Li Quan asked, now can you tell me the specific reason why you came to me? Maybe I can solve your problem. However, after a long time, Li Quan did not hear any sound. Looking at Aberme Ayaka's conflicted look, Li Quan rubbed his eyebrows and suddenly understood what was going on. The seal to eradicate all tongue trouble? That's really troublesome. The main purpose of this thing is to prevent subordinates from leaking secrets. As long as Danzo is alive, the effect of the seal will always exist. Can you write? On the bed, Aberme Ayaka shook her head. At this moment, she was completely confused. This kid actually even knows the seal of eradicating tongue evil? What is the origin of this little ghost? The seal of the tongue is Shimura Danzo's strongest method of preventing leaks. Once she speaks or writes anything about Danzo, the curse will be activated immediately. Then he began to torture her body. It might even cost her life. Moreover, she didn't dare to bet on which specific information would trigger the effect of the curse. Therefore, she didn't dare to talk to Li Quan at all. What about this? Suddenly, a voice floated in her mind. Chapter 71. Inside Li Quan's bedroom. Hearing the voice in her head, Aberme Ayaka frowned slightly. The Yamanaka clan's technique? Because this technique is extremely difficult to learn, it seems that no one has ever tried to do it. I don't know. Then give it a try. Don't worry, you will never die as long as I am here. Hearing the answer, Li Quan just smiled. He naturally understood Aberme Ayaka's concerns. He also knew that if he wanted Aberme Ayaka to work for him sincerely, he had to solve the troubles behind this woman. He just didn't know what to do because he didn't have the intelligence. This is the most crucial point. If there is really no other way, it is not impossible to change Aberme Ayaka's tongue. The worst case scenario is to send this woman to death. With the devouring sack, dealing with the corpse is not a difficult task. Well, he never killed anyone. Before taking action, he needs to overcome the fear in his heart. Sir, my name is Aberme Ayaka. When I was 4 years old, I was spotted by Master Danzo and joined the route. As the communication begins, Aberme Ayaka, who was lying on the bed, tentatively talked about her past. Aberme Ayaka didn't really want to die, but she didn't want to accept her fate so easily. As a dealer, she understands the psychology of gamblers very well. Sometimes, after a gambler loses too much, he is likely to give up gambling. At this time, it is necessary to give gamblers some benefits. She didn't know anything about Li Quan. But this did not prevent her from using similar psychological characteristics to deal with Li Quan. Aberme Caxiang could see that Li Quan was not particularly interested in her. At this time, if she accidentally angered the child, she might very well lose her life. If you speak some useful information through your own mouth, she would then be able to continue living and find a chance to get rid of Li Quan. But soon, Aberme Ayaka was surprised to find out. Although she revealed some of the root secrets, she was not backfired by the tongue eradication seal. What is the reason for this? With confusion in her eyes, she looked at Li Quan in confusion. This kid is so heaven-defying, he can actually find the weakness of tongue haunter. After a while, Li Quan reached out and pressed it. He already understood the basic situation. The only relative was threatened, and in the Aberme clan, Chanin's strength was almost invisible. These are the most useful pieces of information. The rest are some details of root training. In this case, we just need to rescue this woman's sister from the root, and then remove the seal that will eradicate the evil of tongue. However, Li Quan himself did not expect to find a loophole in the seal of eradicating tongues. Using telepathic communication was just a sudden idea. The mind communication of the mind-body technique utilizes spiritual power. Thoughts and voices are also spiritual aspects. And eradicating the evil of the tongue is only a curse planted on the body and will most likely not involve the spiritual aspect. That's the idea. However, Li Quan actually had no idea whether it would succeed. Fortunately, it was successful. Speaking of which, the application of the mind-body transmission technique was mainly during the Fourth Ninja World War. In the early part of the original work, the usage of this technique was rarely mentioned. The reason is that it is too difficult to learn. But to be honest, this technique is difficult to learn for a reason. I'll take care of your matter later. But wait a minute, I need to go meet someone. It should be soon in the next few days. As for the next 2 days, stay in the basement of my house. He walked out of the bedroom door and pointed to a piece of floor downstairs. Li Quan used his mental power to lift up the piece of floor. In the basement, there is an independent set of living facilities, so there is no problem with food and accommodation. As he said this, he went downstairs and led the way himself. He asked his parents to prepare this basement. All the money and other things he had reserved before were placed in it. In the past, I asked my parents to prepare this basement purely for my own safety. Although this is in Konoha village. But at that time, he had no ability to protect himself. To prevent him from being captured by Orochimaru for experiments, and to prevent enemy ninjas from invading Konoha and accidentally killing him. He told his parents about the idea of a building a basement before they went on their spy mission. Because his father is a ninja with earth attribute Chakra. It didn't take much effort to complete this basement. The second day. After temporarily dealing with Aberme Ayaka's affairs, Li Quan arrived at school early. When he said he was waiting for someone, he was naturally waiting for Orochimaru. Aberme Ayaka didn't know where the root imprisoned the families of its members, so he could only ask Orochimaru. But before that, he had to make sure of other things. Who has the best written test score in the class? You know, for more than a month, his mind was basically wandering during class. Only after Sarutobi Hiruzen arrived would he intentionally serve as a supporting actor for a while. Yesterday, the teacher in charge, Aberme Yuki, gave them another day of crazy cultural lessons. This caused him to recall the fear of being dominated by his class teacher in his past life. As a result, Li Quan rarely slept well. Soon, he found his target in the class. Shizuan and Higanatsu. Unexpected, yet reasonable. But he really didn't expect that this little girl Higasya actually had a top student side. This Higa clan branch house will be dedicated to taking care of Naruto's sister-in-law. Now I'm chatting with Jing Ian about the midterm exam. Li Quan was not interested in the content of the conversation at all. However, he was quite pleased to see Jing Ian actively communicating with others. This little girl who was in pain finally became cheerful. This is youth. Kakashi, let's go train together in the afternoon. No. In the corner, Kakashi was feeling very depressed as he stroked the white fang short sword that Hitaki Sakumo had left for him. These days, alone at home, he felt increasingly confused. Why did the village target my father? Why did my father betray the village in the end? Obviously, my father is a hero of the village. But in the end, how did it turn out like this? His eyes met Li Quan's. He suddenly remembered the day when Li Quan went to his father for advice. It seemed that my father changed from that day on. This guy Li Quan must know something. After school, I'll go over and ask. Meanwhile, the root base. Denzo narrowed his eyes and thought about the information he had just seen. It's really difficult to deal with. Tsunade actually sent out 4 JA Nin to protect Li Quan, which made Denzo speechless. Originally, he had ordered several members of the root to take action last night. But not long after, these people returned to the base. With Aberme Ayaka's escape, he became even more upset. There are still a few dishonest ones among my subordinates. He had never expected such a thing. Moreover, the man had been running for the 3rd day and still hadn't found him. This is what made him most angry. There are barriers in Konoha village. Unless you are carrying out a mission, you can't get out at all. Even he couldn't leave the village quietly. He really couldn't understand why a group of people couldn't even find one person. He got angry when he thought about Aberme Ayaka running away. The scene of losing money not long ago also echoed in his mind again. Touching the newly inlaid gold teeth, he held his face and wailed decadently. Ah, why is everything going so wrong lately? After calming down for a moment, Denzo suddenly remembered something. The midterm exam of ninja school seems to be coming soon. Squinting his eyes, a plan emerged in his mind. Chapter 72. Ninja Hospital. Tsunade looked at her clansman lying on the hospital bed and patted her forehead helplessly. Didn't I tell you not to bother Li Quan? Why are you doing this? Senjuyan turned his head away guiltily, somewhat afraid to look into Tsunade's eyes. His strength was stronger than that of this tribesman, so he was not in any trouble at all. But this tribesman is not very good. Not only were the bones broken, but the internal organs were also injured. In the ninja world, attacks are generally high and defenses are low. Only someone like the 3rd Raikage has ridiculously high defense. The rest could be stabbed to death with a knife. If he hadn't been curious about that kid Li Quan, this tribesman wouldn't have been injured so badly. Sen Julian felt even more guilty. Explain it to me. You are all speechless, right? Seeing the two of them remaining silent, Tsunade suddenly became furious. If she hadn't come to the ninja hospital today to continue checking the accounts, she wouldn't have known about this. This guy Yan actually wanted to hide it from her. Why can't all these things make her feel at ease? Master, I. A slap landed on Sen Julian's forehead and Tsunade clenched her fist. You have the courage to do it, but not the courage to admit it. Isn't that embarrassing? Staggering after being hit, Sen Julian looked over in fear. When did Tsunade's temper become so good? In the years after the Second Ninja War, Tsunade would get angry at any time because of the deaths of those two people. He had suffered a lot from Tsunade before. But now, Tsunade just patted her head. The patriarch has really changed a lot recently. Thinking about it, he felt much more relieved. He was still worried about how to tell Tsunade about this. A few minutes later. After hearing the information, Tsunade grabbed Sen Julian's neck. Xiao Yan? Have I been too nice to you recently? Facing Tsunade's fake smile, Sen Julian's heart suddenly skipped a beat. It's gonna happen. Before he could escape, Tsunade's fist landed on him. A few minutes later. Tsunade retracted her fist. She still has some sense of propriety towards her tribesmen. It will just hurt, and you won't be able to see anyone, but you will basically not be hurt. Otherwise, the tribesmen would have been dissatisfied long ago. But that kid Li Chuan is actually a space ninjutsu. Where did you learn this? Or is there someone else protecting Li Chuan? It should be someone else. But who will protect this little guy? There are not many people in the village who can perform time-space ninjutsu. She had never even heard of the ability that Yan described. This made her very confused. Could it be a spy from another village? Or, those immortals? Wait until the afternoon physical training class and go over to ask. Time came to the afternoon. In the physical training class, Li Chuan did not see Tsunade. However, he unexpectedly saw two particularly famous guys in the original work. Both were born in the 27th year of Konoha, and are 16 years old, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. And not far away, there were two ninjas wearing masks openly. Anbuas? This made Li Chuan a little confused. Why didn't Tsunade come today? What happened? Hello everyone, Lady Tsunade had something urgent to do, so she asked me to come over and teach you a few classes. On the playground, Minato Namikaze, basking in the gentle sunshine, greeted everyone warmly. Minato-senpai. So handsome. The appearance of Minato Namikaze immediately caused a commotion. The eyes of several little girls suddenly lit up. Even Yahai Kurane and the others unconsciously looked over there. Having gone through the baptism of ninja missions, Namikaze Minato's temperament has a unique kind of maturity and stability. Compared with Li Chuan, it is a completely different feeling. However, when they saw the somewhat resentful Kushina beside Minato Namikaze, the little girls immediately withdrew their gazes. Kushina's aura is too strong. And from the looks of it, he completely treats Minato Namikaze as something that belongs exclusively to him. In the crowd, Li Chuan also withdrew his gaze. The relationship between these two people is closer than he imagined. And not far from Kushina, there were two Anbu ninjas standing. Because of Nine Tails? In just a moment, he no longer had the desire to contact Kushina. It's too dangerous. He had no intention of exposing himself under Anbu's nose. But beside Minato Namikaze, Kushina saw Li Chuan at first sight. This little guy whom she had only met once seemed a little too aloof. I remember that Sister Tsunade seemed to be quite familiar with this kid at that time. And for more than a month, Tsunade would always mention this little guy in front of her. It does look about 4 or 5 points similar to the rope tree. Li Chuan, here. Two cries of surprise rang out almost at the same time. Li Chuan was confused, and so was Minato Namikaze. Li Chuan really didn't understand why this girl knew him and was so familiar with him. Doesn't this woman have any boundaries? Instinctively, he hid behind Obito. Kushina is now a big trouble for him. Not only is it Nine Tails Jinchuriki's identity, but there are also the two Anbu members behind Kushina. Thanks to Tsunade, he finally escaped from the surveillance of the Root and Anbu. If he comes in contact with Kushina, won't he be followed by Anbu again? As for the two members of the Senjo clan not far away, they were much more sensible than Anbu. And beside Kushina, Namikaze Minato looked at Li Chuan in confusion. Because of Kushina's special status, she has only a few social circles. And he knew all these people. But he had never seen this little guy named Li Chuan. He actually didn't know about Kushina. However, he had no ill will towards Li Chuan, only full of curiosity. The one who can make Kushina remember and greet so happily. What is so special about this child? Li Chuan, Li Chuan. In the class queue, Obito panicked when he saw Kushina walking towards him aggressively. After pulling Li Chuan behind him and seeing that Li Chuan did not respond, Obito decisively chose to sell out his teammate. He had heard some rumors about the blood red pepper. This senior schoolmate had an extremely hot temper, and he didn't dare to offend her. Li Chuan, why don't you reply to me? Having his ears pulled, Li Chuan laughed awkwardly. Kushina-senpai, we don't seem to be very familiar with each other, right? There is nothing wrong with what he said. Li Chuan is really speechless now. I hate people who have no sense of boundaries. Can't you see that he's ready to hide? And he pulled his ears. Not familiar? Then how do you know my name? Didn't Tsunade's sister mention me? Faced with Kushina's question, Li Chuan was even more speechless. Tsunade only mentioned it occasionally, but that wasn't a reason for Kushina to find fault with herself, right? It looks like I'm being targeted again. Even the Sunin were not aware of the changes in the Jinchuriki. Get acquainted with Kushina, who knows what will happen next. Given how much Konoha's high-ranking officials value Kushina, they will never allow anything to happen to Kushina. After all, Nine Tails is Konoha village's strongest trump card. After Uzumaki Mito's death, the only person who controls Nine Tails is Kushina. By the way, did Kushina become a Jinchuriki? There's a seal on the belly. Can't contact, find a chance to slip away. Tilting his head, Li Chuan began to explain. Kushina-san, Tsunade-san has only mentioned you a few times, I only know your name and appearance. Like Obito, at this moment, he chose to sell Tsunade. If there is anything, Kushina and Tsunade can go and talk to them. Anyway, teammates are there to be sold. Chapter 73. On the playground, Uzumaki Kushina fell silent instantly. The friendship between besties is over. Tsunade has only mentioned such an important friend to this brat in front of her a few times. She thought that Tsunade would tell this kid a lot of things about herself. Back then, she was the bully of the ninja school. The name of Blood Red Pepper came about at that time. Although she only took action to teach those boys who laughed at her a lesson. But in the eyes of these kids, it should be a very cool thing. I originally thought that after hearing about Li Quan's deeds, this kid would definitely admire her very much. But now. What a shame. Then wasn't it offensive that I greeted him just now? Sister Tsunade is really something. Why don't you tell this little guy about your own affairs? Pulling his hand back instantly, Kushina was at a loss and touched his body several times. Your name is Li Chuan, right? Let me introduce myself. My name is Uzumaki Kushina, and I'm your senior. She spoke intermittently, a little embarrassed, and patted Li Quan's shoulder. On the side, looking at Kushina's reckless look, Namikaze Minato laughed. It's really Kushina's style. Okay, everyone, look here. Clapping his hands, Namikaze Minato attracted the curious gazes of the other children. I'm here today to give you guys extra lessons. The midterm exam is coming up soon, and everyone's physical combat abilities will be tested then. After a pause, he continued, because the results of the Taijutsu battle will affect your graduation from the ninja school, I hope you will take it seriously. In the next 2 days, I will help everyone and find their shortcomings. If you have any questions, you can ask me directly. After saying this, Namikaze Minato looked at Kushina who kept asking about Li Chuan, and then shook his head helplessly. Li Chuan, just talk to Kushina first, I'll help you out later. No, Minato-senpai, I want to train together. Hearing the sound of stagnant water returning to the dark, Li Chuan shouted instantly. He really didn't want to communicate with Kushina, who was so familiar with him. Why would you ask about your parents' news, home address, etc. right away? It's the same as checking household registration. He had never been so speechless. Several times, he turned into a topic terminator, but Kushina always found new topics. He didn't know how to answer. He knew that Kushina had an optimistic personality. But, this is too cute. I can't handle it. It's okay, just chat about your own things. Minato Namikaze just smiled and did not agree to Li Quan's request. Kushina immediately turned around and gave Minato Namikaze a thumbs up, as if to say, well done. Then, she carried Li Chuan and walked towards a big tree not far away. Axie bar. Frowning, Li Chuan really wanted to curse. Are these ill-fated couples so casual? Minato-senpai, if you do that, I will poach you. Shouting loudly to Minato Namikaze, Li Chuan began to struggle in Kushina's hands. Little guy, are you brave? Just give it a try if you dare. Namikaze Minato smiled indifferently. A child, still thinking about digging his own wall? Is this a joke? Not to mention the age difference of more than 10 years. Just the relationship between myself and Kushina, how many hardships have we gone through? How dare this little guy say that he wants to steal his girlfriend? Recalling the day when he saved Kushina under the moonlight, Minato Namikaze felt extremely happy. That day was definitely his luckiest day. Not only did he save Kushina, but he also gained Kushina's favor. Since that day, his relationship with Kushina has progressed by leaps and bounds. But why was there less security in the village that night? Don't want to think about it anymore. Shaking his head suddenly, Minato Namikaze looked at the children in front of him. Then let's get started. Good. In the class, Sarutobi Asuma immediately responded excitedly. Looking at Li Chuan chatting with Kushina in the distance, Asuma curled his lips in disdain. In recent days, his brother Shinishoke has been praising his improvement in physical skills. Now that he has the genius Namikaze Minato to help him train, he will definitely be able to defeat Li Chuan in a Taijutsu duel. Humph, no matter how strong a person is, he will regress without training. Li Chuan, just have fun. For more than a month, every day I either stayed with Yahai Kurane and the others, or went straight home. I want to see how you can defeat me. Thinking of this, Asuma became angry again. Hong hasn't paid much attention to me recently. I'm so unhappy. During the physical duel, I must make Li Chuan suffer. Meanwhile, above Hokage Rock, Shimura Danzo took a deep breath. Opening his arms, he embraced the air in front of him. Looking down at Konoha through the air between his arms, Danzo laughed. It's all mine, everything will be mine. Suddenly, a root member came up behind him. Ahem, have you found the person? Noticing the person coming, Danzo coughed lightly and lowered his arms. Not yet, sir. Waste. The good mood that just rose up disappeared in an instant. Danzo narrowed his eyes and looked behind him. You can't even find anyone who disappeared in the village. What on earth do you do for a living? Sir, Ayaka has a strong sense of perception, she. Okay, the little girl is here, she will come back, don't worry about her for now. How's the other thing going? Waving his hand, Danzo looked in the direction of the ninja hospital. The operation went smoothly. Tsunade has been entangled and cannot escape for the time being. The IC Kaida. Of that root member. Now, as you expected, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki are in charge. Also, one of the members monitoring Kushina is from our roots. Very good. Listening to the report, Danzo rubbed his hands. After all, there are too few members of the Senjo clan. He just did a little bit of manipulation and Tsunade had no time to take care of the little guy Li Chuan. Next, just proceed according to plan. This time, the little devil can't escape. And outside the village. Orochimaru looked at the door in front of him and stuck out his tongue. Finally I'm back. Little teacher, this time, are you going to thank me, or? I remembered that a few days ago, I arranged for Li Tei and his wife to leave Yuyan village and move to another location. He suddenly laughed. Now, except him, no one knows the location of this couple. Will this young master know this trick? As the village gate opened, Orochimaru walked into Konoha village. Ninja school, a corner of the playground. Li Chuan looked at Uzumaki Kushina awkwardly, his expression somewhat unnatural. And Uzumaki Kushina was also looking at Li Chuan, with a weird look in her eyes. The two of them just stared at each other. For a moment, the atmosphere fell into a strange silence. Kushina really couldn't understand what Li Chuan was thinking. How could this brat actually say something like that to Minato Namikaze? Is this something a 5-year-old would do? And poaching, doesn't she know what poaching means? Thinking back to that day, Uchiha Mikato's words, she raised her eyebrows and asked, Little guy, are you serious about what you just said? Chapter 74. Under the shade of the trees. Li Chuan curled his lips. Since there is no way to hide, just go with the flow. Just keep a good persona and don't reveal too much. Oh, for no reason, I exposed myself to surveillance. I'd rather PS this woman off to death. He looked Kushina up and down, and finally his eyes fell in front of Kushina. He spoke with some hesitation. Well, actually, I was just joking. His meaning was very clear. It was to use Minato Namikaze to avoid Kushina's entanglement. But Li Chuan didn't expect that little son would be so generous. I don't care about this kind of thing at all. Or, look down on this child. On the side, Kushina's eyelids twitched violently when she felt Li Quan's gaze. What does that look in this kid's eyes mean? You actually hate yourself? Am I not beautiful enough? Or do you dislike your own smallness? If this kid didn't know Tsunade, she wouldn't have thought of this. Damn it. She is only 16 years old. It's the time for her to grow, and she will grow further. The red hair suddenly exploded in all directions without any wind. The resentful aura directly covered most of the playground. Minato Namikaze, who was giving instructions to other children, suddenly trembled. As if he had thought of something bad, he immediately turned his head and looked towards the big tree in the corner. His Kushina is red and warm. What the hell did that kid named Li Chuan do? He didn't dare to provoke Kushina in this state. Little boy, just wish you good luck. Come here. Waving at the group of shivering children, Minato Namikaze simply chose to ignore them. Although he likes Kushina, he doesn't like being beaten. Kushina's iron fist, let this kid have a taste of it. He actually dared to threaten to poach my employees. If you can't even withstand Kushina's iron fist, what are you digging for? Speaking of which, before Lady Tsunade asked him to come, she specifically asked him to take care of the child. Minato Namikaze also wanted to see what kind of magic this child had that could attract the attention of Lady Tsunade. Well, he never expected Kushina to come with him today. Normally, he had some troubles when he wanted to see Kushina. Under the shade of the trees, Li Chuan realized that something was wrong and was about to escape. But he subconsciously maintained his character and did not increase his speed. Then, Kushina grabbed Li Quan's neck. Ah! Sister Tsunade is right. You little pervert, you have a mouth that can't speak. You dislike me, don't you? I'll let you dislike me. I'll let you dislike me. Kushina pressed his fist against Li Quan's head and twirled his fist wildly. Amount. That's it. Senior sister, this doesn't hurt you, doesn't it? Although he was F-ed, Li Chuan didn't feel any discomfort. It's just scratching an itch. But something didn't feel right. Soon, he understood. Tsunade had done the same to him. At that time, his face was deformed, but now. However, he has recently experienced the joy of being a child. Everyone around him doesn't treat him as a man. No one will care about some unintentional physical contact. It's totally a welfare gift. If only I had a cell phone. If we record a video, it will become the dark history of these women in the future. Or after drawing the divine machine 100 refinements, try to refine some magic weapons yourself. How much money should I save for the next lottery? 5 million is the reward for an S-level treasure. What level of reward does the 10 million belong to? SS level? The Heavenly Master's degree is SSS level, so are the 8 wonders SS level? Without triggering a lucky critical hit, can I draw the complete 8 wonders with more than 10 million? In an instant, many thoughts flashed through Li Quan's mind. And unconsciously, a smile of looking forward to the future appeared on the corner of his mouth. But in Kushina's eyes, Li Quan's smile was a little vulgar. Kushina, who had increased the force of his fists upon hearing Li Quan's provocative words, suddenly blushed. At this moment, she also noticed some details. She suddenly let go and kicked Li Quan's butt angrily. This damn pervert! What were you thinking about just now? With that lewd look on her face, it seems that she was just giving benefits to this pervert, right? However, Li Quan dodged instinctively. Suddenly, Kushina's kick missed. Bang! She lost her balance and fell to the ground, then did a split. My butt hurts so much. Ah! With a scream, Kushina went crazy instantly. Li Quan, this little devil, how could he mess with people's mentality like this? If she doesn't teach this pervert a lesson today, she's not a blood-red pepper. The next moment, she stood up and rushed towards Li Quan. Li Quan is still thinking about how to continue making money. He was suddenly brought back to his senses by the scream. Looking at Kushina, who was full of shame and anger, he started to run away. Is this woman sick? He had only said a few words, but the woman's aura had changed from unkind to full of malice. Really angry. It's okay if the breath is not good. Because he was observing with the Daluo, Li Quan was planning to have some fun with Kushina and mess with this woman's mentality at the same time. But now, aren't you waiting to be beaten? He is not interested in that. Now the purpose of improving the mentality has been achieved. If I make this woman disgusted with me, Kushina will probably never contact me again. Thinking of this, he broke into the teaching building. But Kushina refused to give up and followed him in. On the playground, Namikaze Minato was dumbfounded. What on earth did that kid Li Quan do to make Kushina so angry? While teaching, he was always observing with distraction. But he didn't see what Li Quan did. But Kushina has been bullying the little guy Li Quan. How come Kushina is the one who gets mad in the end? What the hell? Will nothing happen to that little ghost? Thinking of Kushina's character, Minato Namikaze broke out in a cold sweat. With his hands forming seals, he directly performed the shadow clone technique. After leaving his clone behind to teach, Minato Namikaze's real body also entered the teaching building. All the students looked at each other in confusion. Things are moving too fast. Most of the students didn't dare to look at Kushina and had no idea what was going on. The students who saw what happened didn't quite understand why Senior Kushina was angry. Mr. Li Quan, are you okay? Nohara Lin looked towards the building worriedly. On the side, Obito's face darkened when he heard the words, and he started to practice taijutsu hard. Yahai Kurane ran towards the teaching building. Sarutobi Asuma's brain suddenly twitched, and he looked at the building fiercely and cursed, Kushina-senpai, beat him to death, beat him to death. Not far away. The two Anbu ninjas who had been keeping an eye on Kushina used the instant body movement technique to catch up with him. Flickering is a ninjutsu that uses chakra to activate the body, thereby speeding up travel. The learning difficulty is only D level. However, flickering technique is not a space-time ninjutsu, it just moves too fast to be seen clearly. It is for this reason that almost no one noticed the disappearance of these two people. And in the building, Li Quan frowned when he noticed Kushina catching up with him. It seems that Kushina will not stop unless he teaches himself a lesson. Haha, that's a nice thought. If you can see his shadow, he loses. Hey? It's those two Anbu ninjas. Something seems to be wrong. It doesn't look like these two people's target is Kushina. One of them was targeting himself. Chapter 75. Ninja School, in a classroom. Through the Daluo, Li Quan looked at the two Anbu ninjas and rubbed his fingers. These two Anbu ninjas acted separately. One of them had clearly seen Kushina, but simply chose to ignore her. Without paying much attention, the Anbu ninja turned a few corners and headed for Tsunade's office. The other one was observing Kushina. But that gaze was following Kushina, looking for something. The target that Kushina is looking for is only him now. Tsunade had clearly warned Sarutobi Hiruzen. After that day, Li Quan never met any members of Anbu again. But now this Anbu member is still paying attention to me. It seems that Tsunade's warning didn't have any effect. Also, what's in Tsunade's office? They actually sent the Anbu members who were monitoring Kushina to look for her specifically? Let's go to Tsunade's office first. Having made up his mind, Li Quan directly used space travel and came to Tsunade's office. This office has two rooms. One of them is where Tsunade works. The other room is Tsunade's lounge, where she can take a short rest. Li Quan is very familiar with this place because he has been here several times. After taking a look at the environment, he hid directly in Tsunade's lounge. Then, Li Quan was stunned. Doesn't this woman Tsunade know how to tidy up? The underwear was thrown randomly and the bed was covered with all kinds of scattered clothes. There were a few unopened bottles of beer on the bedside table. No wonder he was stopped by Tsunade several times when he wanted to go into the house to take a look. This is how feelings work. With a frown, Li Quan went straight into Tsunade's closet. A familiar scent. But now, he has no time to pay attention to these. He wanted to see what this Anbu member who was about to enter Tsunade's office wanted to do. Crunch, the door was opened from the outside. A masked ninja tiptoed into the office. It was not what Li Chuan expected, flipping through all kinds of information. After looking for a few seconds, the ninja took a deep breath in ecstasy and stroked Tsunade's seat. Then, he took off his mask and rubbed Tsunade's seat, enjoying himself. Seeing this scene, Li Chuan was shocked. Tsunade's perverted fan. A feeling of disgust and chill from the bottom of his heart rushed straight to the top of Li Quan's head. His fists also clenched unconsciously at this moment. Since he was pursuing Tsunade openly, Li Chuan had nothing to say. But he actually took advantage of his position to come to Tsunade's office to do this kind of thing. It's outrageous. Oh no, this guy actually wants to enter Tsunade's lounge. Are you kidding? What if Tsunade lost a few pieces of clothes and they were used to do something? Just thinking about Li Chuan gives me chills. The space crack opened, and he punched the Anbu ninja directly on the forehead. How powerful is he now? Moreover, he relied on space travel and unexpected attacks. Bang! After a muffled sound, the Anbu ninja fainted instantly. Appearing next to this person, Li Chuan narrowed his eyes. How to deal with it? He couldn't contact Tsunade now. Tsunade is probably in the ninja hospital. By using space travel, you can go directly there. But if he brings someone with him, the chi in his body may not be enough. He activated the devouring sac and took out a flower-like body. Li Chuan injected his own chi into Ruhua's body. In an instant, Ruhua's body began to make crackling sounds, and then she knelt on one knee in front of Li Chuan. Seeing this, Li Chuan nodded. There seems to be a certain awareness. Clean up the place, then tie this guy up and stuff him under the bed. After giving the order, he looked downstairs. This is the 5th floor. At this moment, Kushina was still on the 3rd floor, looking for herself in each classroom. But because of the noise he just made, Kushina had already rushed to the top floor. There is also Minato Namikaze not far behind Kushina. Another Anbu ninja had already arrived at the 4th floor in advance. At this moment, Li Chuan was more certain of one thing. This Anbu ninja who followed Kushina and wore a raccoon mask was coming for him. Glancing at the ninja beside him, Li Quan's eyes suddenly widened. Hey? It's a woman? With short hair, he thought it was a man. But even so, Tsunade can't take that chair anymore. And it is absolutely not allowed. After using the devouring sac to collect the chair, he appeared at the corner of the stairs on the 3rd floor. Then he turned a corner and bumped into the angry Kushina. Hiss, ouch! 2 screams. Li Chuan immediately pretended to be frightened and rushed downstairs. After seeing Li Chuan clearly, Kushina's face turned dark, and he held the railing and jumped over. Li Chuan, that little BD, actually dared to bump into her chest. This pervert definitely did it on purpose. She was so angry that she was fuming, and red chakra fluctuations appeared on her body. The pupils also turned into vertical pupils. Kill him, kill that brat. A faint voice sounded in Kushina's mind. The bewitching voice made Kushina's consciousness confused. At the same time, not far behind her, Minato Namikaze's face suddenly changed. This resentful and manic breath, is Nine Tails. No, it's bad. He took out a few warlock kunai from his waist and immediately swung them forward. Forbidden techniques, space-time ninjutsu, flying thunder god. It's just that because he has just learned it for a short time, Minato Namikaze is not very proficient in the application of this technique. Although he successfully teleported to the location of a kunai. But his body did not stop and flew down from the 3rd floor after breaking the glass. On the 4th floor, the Anbu members who were preparing to look for Li Chuan also suddenly changed their expressions after sensing Nine Tails' presence. This is a ninja school. Once the Nine Tails in Kushina's body goes berserk, it will be a big trouble. At this moment, he didn't care about Danzo's orders. He moved his body and immediately rushed towards the aura of resentment and hatred. At the same time, he also took out a ninjutsu scroll. As he activated the scroll, more than 20 sounds of breaking through the air suddenly rang out around the ninja school. Li Chuan, who had already arrived on the 1st floor, naturally noticed the presence behind him. Since the proficiency of Daluo Dongguan has reached 40%, the consumption of chi has become extremely low. As long as you don't use perspective, you can detect this ability from a distance. Just detecting the aura of people around you would require basically negligible energy. Therefore, he usually keeps this skill activated. After noticing Kushina, who was a little abnormal, behind him, Li Chuan immediately understood what was going on. I was so angry that I lost my mind and was taken advantage of by Nine Tails. It seems that I have gotten myself into big trouble this time. But to be honest, how could Kushina, a woman with such a bad temper, be chosen as Nine Tails Jinchuriki? He just PD off the woman, and she couldn't suppress Nine Tails. How many times does Kushina go berserk in normal times? Come to think of it, that loud noise at the back of Hokage Rock a year ago, couldn't it have been caused by Kushina? Sarutobi Hiruzen is simply asking for trouble. If I hadn't sat back and watched the Uzumaki clan. Shaking his head slightly, Li Quan's mental power pressed directly towards Kushina. Stupid woman, have you had enough of the trouble? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.